Hello and welcome to another episode of Funbearable. I am Brad Rohr.
I'm Ray Harrington.
Oh, I already did a makeup bit on one of the shows.
Yeah, you
did.
did.
I'm just Chuck Staten.
Yeah.
I'm just Chuck.
Hey, don't pay attention to me. I'm just Chuck Staten,
Like he's sitting in a corner.
Yeah.
I'm just Chuck Staten.
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just Chuck Staten, the founder of the feast.
Founder of the Feast. I've never heard Founder of the Feast outside of what? Is it Christmas Carol?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only time I've ever heard that.
Or the guy that started that startup company, The Feast.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to start using Founder of the Feast. I'm responsible for so many things.
Yeah, so many feasts.
Yeah. It's fun because we don't often get to do stuff with Funbearable where we're like, this is very timely and it's about a specific thing.
Yeah.
But we're actually purposely sitting down today.
To talk about the Dalai Lama
Yes.
and sucking tongues.
I don't get it. I think that why can't we accept another person's culture in today's day and age? Why can't we fucking sit down and suck a tongue? Who cares?
You know, in some cultures, thumbs up means fuck you, right?
Chuck and I suck each other's tongues all the time. It's not
It's
sexual.
about wisdom.
And
Yeah.
you're basically a monk.
Oh, I've got the haircut and everything.
Yeah.
So
And you annoy people at airports.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, that's...
That was Hare Krishnas.
Yeah, the Hare
before we
Krishna.
get into the main thing, all right, Dalai Lama suck tongue. Can
All right.
Can
Dalai Lama
I
suck
say
tongue.
one thing about this though?
Yes.
And I'm not trying to be the devil's advocate, but
Take that name badge off.
he does speak in another language and then it's translated to, do you want to suck my tongue? Is there any...
He then does stick out said tongue and expect said child to suck said tongue.
Hold on.
And then
Allegedly.
he says, your mouth was made to suck my kiss.
Well, there's no subtitles in that part. We don't know what he said.
Yeah.
But no, but it's like, you know, Eskimos have 27 words for snow. You know what I mean?
There
So
are
they'll
no,
think-
it's not Eskimos.
Who has it? Who has 27 words?
Inuits.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
And
it's apocryphal.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Inuits have 27
Brad
words.
and I are just fucking footnoting this to death.
Well, hold on. Here's what I'm saying.
Little one, little two, little three.
Well, first of all, 2 weeks ago, if I was like, hey, isn't the Dalai Lama doing some good stuff? Brad would be like, yes, he is. So I don't want to hear this whole...
This trial is a mess. It's a sham trial. This whole
Your
time.
Honor.
Yeah, this is why I wanted to do Your Honor. We've talked about this. Can we say it out
Yeah.
loud? I texted you guys the other day, and I was like, I was listening to the most recent episode, and Your Honor is secretly, I think, the catchphrase of Funbearable.
Yes.
Because of what it embodies.
Yes,
It
exactly.
embodies you're trying to defend something you know is just not true, right? Yes. Your Honor, right? And the fact that we had that conversation and now we're here and you're like, listen, the Dalai Lama, who amongst us has not, for a goof, gotten a minor to suck a body part?
So
An inside body part,
Yeah.
So
not an outside.
My point is, though, I would like the translation to me. It does, and you know, correct me if I'm wrong. Sometimes our translations kind of approximate.
Yes.
Does that happen sometimes?
Yes. I don't
and-
know if that's the case here.
It really isn't the case because here's how it went. The context clues are there. He was like, give me a kiss on the cheek.
Very nice.
Then he said, give me a kiss on the lips.
Sometimes I can't even say it.
He's like, give me a kiss on the lips.
Okay.
When you
And
said
then
give me
the-
a kiss on my cheek, it's very nice. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
The boy gave him a kiss on the lips. Already I'm like, ew.
Yeah.
You know parents that like give kisses on the mouth
Tom Brady.
to their children? I'm sorry if that's how you grew up. That's fine. To each his own. For me, I've never kissed my son on the lips. I don't think I will. Unless he needs the kiss of life.
Which is like choking? You mean like saving him?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No,
Okay.
choking. I wouldn't.
Like, well, what do you do?
No, you don't do CPR if somebody's choking.
I'm gonna blow it down into his lungs.
I also like that I couldn't remember it.
That's me shoving the food down. Oh, he's choking. But I do think it's odd, right?
Yeah.
Especially as children get older.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think back. I don't think like my family ever did on the mouth kisses. Maybe when I was little.
Probably before you could remember. I would
Yeah.
imagine. Yeah.
But it is an
weird.
odd thing, right?
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
know like adult children who give kisses on the mouth to their parents.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
That is outrageous.
It's kind of weird.
It's
I feel
worse
like we
than
might
kinda
be
weird.
alienating listener viewers
Okay.
that may do that. You know,
Okay.
maybe they're giving smooches.
All right,
Maybe
smooches.
they have the mistletoe.
If you are, we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah.
Funbearablepod@gmail.com.
Brad.
Tell
Let
us
me
in
read your
detail.
blog.
Every week, someone says something disgusting, and Brad says, "I'd love to hear about it," and then we have to cut it out. So there's another. I hope no one forgets to cut that one out. If you kiss your mom, if you kiss your parents on the lip, why we love to hear about it. That's fucking bananas.
I want to hear about why.
Yes,
All right,
yeah.
all right.
Reasons.
Oh,
reasons.
I think you just wanted
I
to
don't
hear
want the
it.
details.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought you meant.
Yeah, give me a narrative. Really work up to it.
You know what? Do us a favor. Give us a second count on
Yeah.
how long the kiss is. How many seconds? Because I think
Well,
it's
Does your
gotta be a
heart
peck.
Does your heart flutter?
Right.
Is there tongue involved? Tell us all about it.
Does your heart flutter? Are you covered in butter? These are things we need to
So
know.
this is we're agreeing that the kiss on the lips.
But how long
could
is
be
the kiss for
but
an
we're agreeing that
adult child?
It
Like,
could be
just
it,
that. It's a
it
bus.
is normal to some people. So
What if it's,
let's move along with the Dalai Lama.
Ooh,
He's
so
just
curious.
doing normal things that we all do.
That's too long. That's too long. That's too long.
I love that.
That's too long by a factor of 1 million.
How about this? I think you're in trouble if when you go to give a kiss on the lips to your parent or child and you go turn your head.
If you tilt your head,
Yeah.
Oh man. So okay. So so the Dalai Lama then says
So
something.
he goes, kiss me on the cheek, kiss me on the lips, and then he goes, now suck my tongue.
Well,
And the kid goes, ha, 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 ha. And the Dalai Lama's like, ha, 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 and he's gesturing for the child to come closer. And so he did say later, it was a joke. I was joking, Your Honor. And a lot of people are like, hey, he's basically senile now. And he's been known to goof.
yeah.
So I think maybe this was a goof gone wrong.
Oh, I'm
which,
not-
which is a video I've seen. I ordered that
Well,
on
Goof Gone
VHS.
Wrong was the
Goof's
original name of
Gone
this
Wrong.
podcast.
Yeah, goof's gone wrong.
I think one of his handlers was like, well, also he as a mostly spiritual being, he is above like sins of the flesh, and
I
it's like
agree.
I don't know that that is
I think a few of us are.
accurate.
Also, the idea of like it is.
Your Honor, I'm above sins of the flesh.
Yeah, Your Honor. I
By the way,
have elevated.
if I do get put in jail for life and they say, like, what do you do? It will be goof gone wrong. It will be the sentence.
Local goof goes wrong.
No, I meant the crime. That's how the crime will be.
Oh, okay, yeah.
What are you in for?
Goof gone wrong.
I did a goof. It went wrong.
90 years.
I didn't know she was that old.
It
Went
went
really
way
wrong.
wrong.
Really wrong.
So I do think the idea of like when I first heard about that story, I truly was just like, man, there's no organized religion that is safe, right? Like there's none of them. Not even the fucking Buddhists are just like, hey, we won't fuck your kid. All right. I'm sorry. That's a little harsh, but
That whole thing was, it's the weirdest news story. It's the weirdest one.
that's why I think for me as a atheist, I apologize, sorry, but as an atheist, I'm like, your beliefs are whatever. You know what I mean? Some people have beliefs that I don't agree with that
Right.
I think are wrong because they encroach on other people's freedoms. But if your belief is just for you and that doesn't affect anybody else, good for you. Believe whatever you're going to believe. Yeah. I think the trouble gets there when we get into organized belief, because then there's a system, and when there's a system, there are problems. If there's power, that power is abused, and it's
I think
crazy
the
that
power
even,
is the problem.
Yeah, even in Buddhism, it's still like, I mean, it was a goof that he asked that kid to suck his tongue. Because if it wasn't the Dalai Lama, if it was an assistant manager at GameStop,
Right.
he wouldn't be the assistant manager at GameStop anymore. Ooh, Chuck
Used to work at GameStop.
That is right.
How many times did you
s-
suck
yeah.
Abe's tongue?
Abe was my manager.
But how many kids did you ask to suck your tongue if they wanted that copy of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2?
You know what's funny? I was just thinking about this. It would be funny for any celebrity of any kind to get in trouble for asking a minor to suck their tongue on video. And the Dalai Lama might be the funniest.
It is pretty funny.
Mad lib person to put in that.
Oh, I heard somebody. Big Grande, the guys, the
That's
improv
funny.
group. They're very funny, and one of the guys started a new podcast called the Podcast with like Brett Damont is the character that he's playing, and they talked about the Dalai Lama thing, and they pointed out like if it is a joke, the Dalai Lama did adhere to the rule of threes.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? Kiss on the cheek.
Yep.
That's starting the joke.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
Kiss on the lips, elevating it. You've raised the stakes. Now let's go to the absurdity. Suck my tongue.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a good goof.
That is funny.
Yeah, so I like the idea of
Your
the Dalai
Honor,
Lama.
It is a textbook goof.
Your Honor, it's right here, right? Rule of threes.
Yeah.
So, in terms of current stuff, we wanted to talk about the recent trip we just had to New York, New Jersey to do the live.
Chuck.
We stayed in New York.
Chuck, can I just explain to you again? New York is its own state. It is not New York, New Jersey.
Yeah. it's
There's a
it's
New York
small
City.
town in New
Yeah,
Jersey.
there's a New York City in New
Yes.
York State, but like the song isn't New York, New Jersey.
Yeah, so we had our show, our live Funbearable show at Smodcastle.
Yeah.
But surrounding that, we did a bunch of interviews and special events.
We went to a sex show.
I wish.
And then when we got there, it turned into a sexless show.
and then after the
We walked in. They're like, we're not in the mood anymore.
Yeah,
And we're like, what the?
They said it dried up faster than a phone in a bag of rice.
so what that's like, it takes a long time.
I'm sorry. You know what? That joke only makes sense if you do it in like New York accent.
Yeah.
Right. I
Phone
heard
in a
it dried
bag of
up
rice.
faster than a phone in a bag of rice.
Yeah. So
All right, yeah.
but then Ray had his own excursion coming home.
Misadventures.
What's funny about it is like, Ray essentially got back like a couple days ago.
Dude, yeah, I've been home for less than 48 hours right now.
Yeah.
But
And
the, show
gone-
happened like almost 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and I was gone for like 3 weeks. That's basically it. I was basically gone. There was one day in between things for me.
Yes.
Where I was at home. I
Yeah.
flew in on a Sunday evening.
Yeah.
Right.
And then Monday morning left for a family vacation for another 5 days. And I was like living out of my suitcase for so long, it became normal.
Yeah.
Yes.
It really did. I'm like, well, that's where my underwear is.
Yeah.
It lives there.
So let's talk about. So here's what happened, and I'm this show has no curtain. I'm not even going to say we're going to pull the curtain back. We've removed the curtain for this
We
episode.
ripped the curtain down.
Right? So we like to do our live shows, and honestly, the way it used to work is we had the Chuck and Brad podcast, and Brad and I would do these Chuck and Brad live shows, and Ray was on virtually every single one of them.
Yeah, I was a proponent of you guys. I was banging the drum for the two of you because there are not enough people doing
Diversified stuff.
interesting things. No, they're very white shows.
No, we try to get a.
No, I know. Oh, I don't like that you said. Brad, we got to try and get.
We had a wheelchair on last time.
It was just the chair.
Got,
Chuck sitting and going, look at this.
got better laughs than us.
No, but
Well, you use that talk box.
Yes.
But no, like
Yeah.
I was a big proponent because I was like, oh, you guys are doing something new and fresh.
Yeah.
And like, when I started doing stand up in this area, myself, Brian Bowden, pod member, friend of the pod.
Yeah.
Yes,
friend
yeah.
of the pod, Brian Bowden. Should be friend of the pod, Derek Furtado. Like we all kind of were doing the hardcore show, and there
Yes.
was something different happening.
Yes.
And we would come up with little bits to do within the show.
it was a consistent show at the Comedy Connection.
Yeah,
in
every
Rhode
Friday
Island.
late night show.
and there was some kind of community aspect. It wasn't just a random stand-up show.
Right, and people would come they didn't know who was on. They just knew the three of us were probably there
Yeah.
with some other comedians, and
Yeah.
we were going to do fun stuff. We did stuff with like the cordless mic, one of us in the green room doing part of a bit with
Yes.
the person on stage.
Yes, yeah.
So I was excited when you guys started doing stuff where I'm like, this is similar.
Yeah.
You know, in that wheelhouse. You know what I mean?
Right. And right away, like Ray was doing stand up as well as being part of the show with Brad and I on stage in different ways. And we would, we'd all work together and even
The put upon guy. Like that was the joke of it. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, even when we would do our main headlining thing of the Bradley Drawn stuff,
Yeah.
you and I would talk through the script and we'd go through
Yeah.
stuff and say like, maybe we should make this longer. Maybe we should cut this. And I would bring it to you and be like, do you see anything in these drawings? Because we do this Bradley Drawn show, obviously, where Brad draws all these scenes from a movie and his terrible art style is kind of the focus. But you can actually look at his drawings and see a lot of different things and focus on a different
Yeah,
thing. So Ray has always been a part of that. Then when we started the podcast together, we were like, well, we're going to continue the shows and we'll just let them evolve. We'll do live Funbearable shows and we'll see, how this goes. So we did one in December that we recorded, a really small, kind of intimate, traditional podcast around Christmas in Providence. That was very fun.
It was very intimate.
It was
had
extremely
fake nails.
Rare.
It was a little too intimate, but the Dalai Lama came up.
Yeah.
He did a teaching thing.
It was
I didn't love
it was weird to have the Dalai Lama there for a Christmas show.
Yes.
Looking back,
Yes.
And I'll say this: I know what he said seemed offensive, but I got to check the translation.
Yeah. And it was interesting. Brad explained Christmas to him very much like Linus in the Charlie Brown Christmas
Right.
special. Like you got to the core of
Right.
the religious aspect of Christmas.
Yep.
And it was funny because you did all of that, and then the Dalai Lama in aviators at night. In aviators.
And it's weird. He had that jacket, that leather jacket with the fur line.
Yeah,
the bomber.
yeah. And it said Dalama on it. But he heard the story of that, Jesus born in the manger. So da, 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 da. And he laughed and laughed and laughed.
then he
He went like this. I couldn't
yeah.
hear what he was. I don't know what. I don't speak the language, but he was like, da, 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 ha, ha, ha,
And
ha. It was
he
weird.
put his head under a curtain and came back out, and he had a mistletoe mustache.
Yes.
And he stuck his tongue out, and he's like, he kept pointing at it, and I'm like, I don't.
And you were sucking and sucking and sucking.
I was like,
But anyway, going back out of bit territory, we did a Funbearable show at Smodcastle, Kevin Smith's movie theater in Leonardo, New Jersey, or Highlands, New Jersey, Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey, where we did Bradley
Atlantic
Drawn
Highlands.
for Clerks, the movie Clerks that Kevin wrote and directed a long time ago. And it's because we had done this before at Rhode Island Comic Con with Brian O'Halloran, who plays the lead character, Dante. And he did it on stage with us there. And we've wanted to do it at Kevin's venue for a long time because Kevin owned a smaller venue a little while ago. And we never got around to it, but we finally were able to plan it. And we were like, okay, well, we're going to do Chuck and Brad open the show as we traditionally do with like a 10-minute bit. Ray's going to do stand-up. And then we're going to headline with Clerks Bradley, drawing the main headlining bit. And then we're all going to come out and do some kind of Q&A and talk afterwards and joke around together.
Yeah.
And we've actually done that too at some of the previous Chuck and Brad shows where myself, Brad, and Ray on stage kind of stayed on stage afterwards and joked around a little bit.
Yeah,
and that was
yeah.
very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we were like, let's do that. So we were talking about that. We got a date to do it.
And really quickly, the only thing, because we're talking about how that breaks down.
Yeah.
The only frustration there for me is I know I can't be a part of like the opening thing.
Right. Yeah.
And we talked about this before because the bit there
Yes.
tends to be like the two of you are, like so on board with this thing.
Usually a dumb thing.
oh, a very dumb thing.
So the comedic beat there, and
Yes.
the reason I started working with you guys more and more with the live show stuff is like you could just throw a thing at me and
Yes.
I'd be like, "Yep, cool."
Exactly.
And I know where I need to go.
Right.
I know what direction I have to take here.
Right.
What position I need to be in.
Yeah.
Which is usually like put upon.
Right.
Like, oh God.
And
Like,
you're also like, you have a part of your comedic sensibility, to me anyway, as a stand-up in general, is finding paths to like moments of fun. And so when we present something dumb to you, you get to a place where you get to cut it down really quickly and you find a fun punchline moment for coming at the stuff that we present.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it fits into that.
Yeah, and like I remember once we did the Halloween show.
Yep.
And this is when I learned like I can't be in the beginning bit and then do stand up.
Yes.
Because it was like bad puns for the costumes, rejected Halloween costumes.
Yeah.
And they are bad puns.
Well,
right?
They're great puns, but puns can be bad.
They're not even puns. They're just like mushing two things together.
Yeah.
That's like a different
I
thing.
know. I'm
than
already
a
trying to
pun.
work on one for this year for the Dalai Lama.
Dalai Lama, call your mama. But in that bit, the whole bit is you guys are telling me these bad puns.
Yes.
On purpose.
Right. Yes.
And I'm supposed to do every time be like, oh God, it's
Yeah.
so bad.
Right,
That's
yeah.
the whole fucking crux of the thing.
Yeah.
And we did it. And then you guys are like, all right, Ray's gonna do stand-up now. Here he is. And then you guys left the stage. And that's when I was like,
Oh, now I've created a persona.
I've spent the last 10 minutes being the boo, no guy.
Yes.
Then I'm supposed to turn and be like, hey, so here are my comedy bits.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was too different.
Yeah.
It was like whiplash for like the tone of the thing.
I think so because, for people who aren't performers, as a stand-up, you go out there with a blank slate and you paint your picture of who you are.
And I think it could work if I was a comic who was negative or was like,
critical.
Yeah, critical or
Right.
like really aggressive with stuff. That would be fine.
Yeah.
But that's not me. I'm going to be up there talking about like, my 9-year-old does this thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Here's
right.
hot air balloons.
Right, so
I
it's-
made it sound like I'm a clown. I'm not. I'm a fucking artist.
So it's tough to
Clowns are artists too. Sorry.
it's almost like if you saw really a good example is if you saw a sketch and then one of those people left the sketch and did stand up as themselves.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
this is a little bit jarring because you were just playing.
Aren't you
a
the guy
version
that
of a
sticks
character.
his dick in coffee?
Yeah.
Right? Like that's the thing,
right. But anyway, so
that was a different Christmas show.
and we'll and we'll work on trying to figure it out because I think
Yeah.
one of the things that could help is if we do a 10-minute opener and then 2 comics go on and then you come back up. I think there is a little bit of shaking the Etch-a-Sketch.
Yeah, that's fine.
In between?
There has to be at least one thing in between.
Yeah, exactly.
It was doing the bit and then you guys walking
We
off
literally
stage
left
and
the
leaving
stage.
me there going,
Yeah.
So I've spent 10 minutes saying you guys aren't funny. Now I'm gonna be funny.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's weird.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And I will say, just to put it in perspective, when you see us do those bits, Ray essentially is aligned with the audience. We are presenting stuff that we know is going to be dumb. So it's not like Ray is mean to us. He's more aligned with like the average person looking at
It
this kind of
comes
stuff.
down to in comedy. We're gonna get so nerdy here.
that's
Like when
fine.
I was doing sketch stuff with Brian and Derek, we broke it down in this way because there was 3 of us there,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And I was like, essentially every sketch, and I think this fits for most sketches with multiple people in them.
Yeah.
You have the reality, the person that represents reality, grounded, truthful reality.
Exactly.
The straight man,
Right.
or woman.
Right.
Then you have the absurdity, which is just the ridiculous thing,
Right.
the thing of the crux of the sketch that's going
Right.
to drag it into a place, right?
Yeah.
Then you have the person accepting of the absurdity.
Right.
Yes.
In comedy terms, right? You're the absurdity.
Yes.
You bring the absurd idea or joke or thing where you're like, we're going to build a tree house. And it's like, but we're adult men.
yeah.
I'm the reality. I'm the one in what you guys have done on stage. I come in and go, no, like we're adults. We can't build that. That's not even our tree. We rent. Like we can't do that. And in that comedy, you have to be the accepting of the absurdity and go, well, yeah, we are going to build the treehouse.
Yeah.
And so it looks weird that I'm going, hey, why aren't you? You know what I mean?
We
Like
are
that's-
going to nail beef to a pumpkin and call it a beefo-lantern
Right.
That
yes.
was fun.
to use a real thing that we
Yeah.
did at a show.
Because before I started doing the stuff with you guys, when it was just Chuck
Look at
and
how
Brad.
much he loves
he's
beef
so, he's
lantern.
half hard. Are you kidding me?
I use nails.
Yeah, it's wild. Wild. You looked at that pumpkin and the beef and went, how can I?
My favorite thing about playing a character, the character of Chuck,
A character.
is like
It's like pulling a mask off and it's the same exact mask underneath.
except the one under it gets to go. I was wearing a mask. That's why I did all that shit. But yeah, so that's the thing. So, but we said, okay, so we're gonna put on this show. we really hope that our first show in New Jersey together goes well.
New Jersey.
And it is, I think there's a lot of positives about doing something that's alternative because no one else can really look at it and say like, oh, that's just like this, or there's a million of those. No one can really look at our shows and
Right.
do that. But the negative side of that is that when you try to promote something like this, or you try to explain it to people,
there's no shorthand.
there's no shorthand. You can't be like, it's a comedy show. There's a bunch of stand-up comics. It's a lot different than that. It's like, it's Clerks, Bradley drawn. And it's like just a paragraph to explain what it is.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to. That plays into this a little bit. But because you guys were going to come down and stay at my apartment in Staten Island, which is only like 30 minutes from the venue, we said, let's increase the value of the trip and do some podcasting with some people who are local to New York.
We played laser tag.
Yeah. And
We did an Easter egg hunt a little early.
Yeah.
yeah. So we got to figure out all the logistics of that. And so the very first thing that was a priority to me on top of the show was that Brad had come up with this game called Psychic Trivia.
Yep.
And it really felt, Brad, I think, did you originally come up with it for an improv show?
It was somebody else brought it to improv, and we did it as a warm up, just as a way to like jokingly
like
get all on the
very,
same
very
page.
short.
Thief.
Yeah, definitely. But I worked with that person to develop it for the stage and mentioned it to Chuck, and Chuck's like, let's film it. And I told this other person, and he said, that sounds great. Send me the link when it's done.
Yeah.
So
It's for court purposes.
And, I work with the podcast Gitem Steve-Dave, and they do a lot of games. So I was like, that not only is it a great studio to work in, Gitem Steve-Dave studio, but also Walt Flanagan and Gitem Steve-Dave, who I work with all the time, are great people to have involved in a game that have a lot of experience. They've been really warm to us. We all have a good relationship. So we said, let's see if they'll do it with us and we can film it when you guys come down. So we were able to set that up. Super thankful for Walt and Gitem. It actually just went up a couple hours ago online. So we've been podcasting all day.
On
so
the
I
day
haven't
that we
even seen any
record,
stuff.
yeah.
On the day we record,
Yeah. Oh, you haven't?
So
It's not good.
we're canceled.
so that was the first thing we set up.
Well,
We're
Yeah.
yeah. But so we set that up. And we're like, okay. And I guess we could just like go through the trip. But basically we planned on Wednesday night, Brad and Ray are going to drive down to Staten Island after 7:30 or whatever, 7 o'clock.
It's a great drive.
Yeah.
And Brad and Ray drove down. Yeah. And you stopped at a diner, had a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice to have one-on-one time, Brad and Ray.
Yeah. It's a rare thing.
Yeah.
And we bonded.
Yeah, it's like we live, or when we spend time together, there's like we're surrounded by chattering birds, and it's
Yes.
just inanity and just
Yes.
cacophonous, shrill.
It's like two coworkers in a poultry farm.
yeah,
And finally they can go out and have a drink and just talk.
and then
then
there's
without
no
endless clucking. Yeah.
in the background, so it's really good.
And it smells like
it's
shit.
funny because it's like, imagine a poultry farm without the poultry. What do you got?
Sure.
Two dead-eyed farmers. Dead-eyed. I don't know why I went dead-eyed.
It was really nice. Good diner stop. Ray's playing me songs I hadn't heard. It was good. It was
And we did talk a little bit about Chuck.
oh yeah.
What's the there's that phrase like, are your ears burning?
Yeah.
Because somebody's talking about you.
Yeah.
I guess in this case it would be like, was your asshole burning? No, I'm
The
kidding.
answer is almost always yes.
Yeah. But we were like, I actually think Thursday, the day we had to wake up, was probably the most difficult day of the trip.
Yeah, because we got down there and then it was like, oh, we have to get up early.
Yeah, we got there at like 11:30, and
Yeah.
then you'd have to unwind and
Yeah.
Right, and then we just went right to bedsies.
Yeah. And like a gentleman, I always give Ray my bed. That's nice of me. And then Brad and I
appreciate it.
Brad and I sleep.
As we've discussed, the other bed is literally too short for my body.
Brad and I split the other bed into two. It actually physically splits
Yeah.
into two twin beds.
trundle bed.
So Brad and I are like bunk buddies. What are you calling us?
Bunk.
no,
buddies.
I refer to us as bunk buddies.
But
I've heard other people say other things.
Yes.
So we were like-
something buddies, but I
so we were like, all right, here's the plan. Thursday, we're podcasting all day. Like, we'll get through it. Friday is the show.
Yeah.
Saturday, we kind of have like an off day, but at 5 a.m, late Saturday night into Sunday morning, Ray has to go to the airport.
Yeah.
So Sunday, we get up early. We go to Gitem Steve-Dave Studios. We set up. We do psychic trivia with Walt and Gitem. We had a ton of fun with them.
Yeah.
And then we went into Manhattan, and we set up our gear again. And that's when we did our interview with Casey Jost, who we already put that out. And this won't have come out yet, but we also got to have my buddy Matt Wayne on the show.
Double first name Wayne.
Great
Double
guy.
first name Wayne.
Matt
Actually,
Wayne.
he
Oh,
is
yeah, triple first name.
Quadruple.
Quadruple,
That's,
that's
right.
right,
Yes.
That's right. 'Cause
Yes.
He's moneyed. I
Yes.
forgot.
He's landed. He's a landed gentleman.
Yes.
But yeah, so and it was just a long ass day in terms of getting up, driving to Jersey, setting up, filming, packing up, driving. And the other thing too, that was a weird thing of that day is our responsibilities as
Right.
podcasters that day were fucking very diversified. Because Brad had to run the game show.
Right.
And we had to be contestants in the game show. Then we had to interview
I
Casey.
had to be psychic.
Yeah.
Then we had to interview Casey Jost, which you guys, I mean, Ray doesn't know him. Brad does know him.
Right.
Yeah.
But we had to talk about real projects and kind of bring some interview to the table
Right.
as well as the joking we normally do.
Right.
And then Matt Wayne, comic, we kind of got to sit down and just have
Effing and
fun.
jeffing.
Yeah.
And,
just tongue sucking all day.
I'll also say, we were leaving Gitem Steve-Dave, and it's like, it's 2:00. We'll have time to eat when we get to the city. And it's like, well, you know what? Let's just grab a slice of pizza here. And if we didn't have that slice of
We'd be
pizza,
screwed, yeah.
I would have strangled probably everyone in New York by the end of the night.
Yeah.
I would
a
have just
long day.
started, and I couldn't have stopped.
Yeah.
Oh, we went to Rook Coffee for the first
Yep.
time. Brought you guys to one of
Yeah.
my favorite places in Jersey. Got Rook Coffee beforehand. The pizza was good too. That's the pizza
Yep.
that's right next to Gitem Steve-Dave Studios in Hazlitt.
I tried to have a salad.
Yeah, Ray.
We got salads later on, and then the salad person was just like, different things in it?
He just didn't understand.
I guess I'll just put the stuff that
Ray's
doesn't belong.
online
The most
order.
accurate way to put it is that he made your salad completely wrong twice in a row.
Yeah.
That's
And I
exactly-
ate the second
in different ways.
Yeah,
he made it
yeah,
completely
yeah.
wrong in different ways.
Creative.
Yeah.
Creative salad man.
That's the kind
He's
of
a salad man who with a lot of creativity, and
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I was really bummed because while we were there, I wanted to get either a Levan cookie,
Right.
Oh yes,
because they make delicious cookies at this bakery, or from Magnolia Bakery get
pudding?
the apple crisp.
Oh yeah, that's right. Apple
Right.
crisp.
Fuck yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't get either. And I was so bummed. I was so bummed because I like to have like this idea of that sweet treat there.
Oh, for sure.
Because there's always so much involved with whenever we go to New York or whenever I have to go to New York for a thing.
Totally.
There's just so much bullshit to deal with. It's nice to be like, oh, I'm gonna have that little sweet treat. That'll be fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
And I was sweet treat less.
Yes, I think the idea of traveling anywhere, having a thing that you like that you only get there,
Yeah.
is so positive.
Oh, yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
it's such a thing to look forward to, which is why. And I mean, let me throw this little compliment out early. As grown men, grown adults, it could be women. It is difficult to be like, oh, we're just going to cohabitate for 4 days.
You sure? Yeah.
That's a weird, I mean, and it's funny because like in a relationship, let's say you and your wife, like obviously like over the years, you're like, oh yeah, sometimes I need this alone time. Sometimes she likes to do this.
Yeah.
Sometimes we argue. Sometimes we know we disagree about this, so we do this, whatever it is. But when you do that with adults you don't normally live with, you kind of just got to deal with whatever comes up.
Well, as adult gentlemen, we have different routines.
Yes.
in our
Exactly.
lives.
Everyone does.
Everybody has a different.
Every different-
thing.
yeah.
And the thing that we do when we hang out or we're working together or whatever it is,
Yeah.
we see each other post the like morning routine stuff.
Right.
Yes.
It's not until you are cohabitating, like you said, where you see the other person's routine, and sometimes you're like, "What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's what you do every day."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But there is, and it's funny. I think we worked well. We meshed well with
Yeah.
stuff. That was fine.
I think we did really, really well this weekend.
Sure,
in terms
yeah.
of like not being too particular or dicks or
Yeah,
too
everybody
too-
kind of went with the flow with certain things. We all had like little goof things that we were after.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
a hard part too of cohabitating when you have a thing where, for me, I was gonna leave at the end. I wasn't going home.
Right.
I was going to the airport and leaving.
I know.
And I have certain things I do as a routine before I fly.
Right.
For sure.
But I had to kind of do that stuff within, right?
know.
So it's weird. It is a weird thing.
Oh yeah, but I was gonna say I told Brad, I'm like on the way home because Ray was gonna go on the airplane on Sunday at 5 a.m. and then on Monday Brad and I were gonna drive home to Rhode Island, and I said I have a special treat for you on the way home on Monday, And boy, oh boy, was it special.
It was.
But we'll get there.
Tongue sucking.
Yep.
So, but
Sorry,
Thursday,
it's such an odd thing.
It
so
really- I
love it. I
It
love
just
it.
begs for callbacks.
oh yeah, it begs to be talked about for the rest of our lives. I'll talk about it forever. It's the
I
best.
hate that I stuck my tongue out just now. I hate it. I don't
because
want that
he
to
might suck
exist.
it. He might show up and suck it.
That's ooh, it's
Kicks
like
open the
It's
door.
like Bloody Mary.
Yes.
If you stand in
The
front of
Dalai
the
Lama,
mirror,
the Dalai Lama, the Dalai Lama.
and you stick your tongue out. He's here now.
So Thursday was, I think, a lot to deal with all that stuff.
Sure, yeah.
And we did it, and we got back to the apartment, and I felt really relieved.
Yeah.
But I also felt like tomorrow is definitely going to be another set of challenges.
I was just exhausted.
And it's funny because we wrote this opening bit for the live show on Friday that required 7 videos. And most of it was already put together, but we did have to put some together while you guys were in New York on, I guess, Friday morning.
Yeah.
We filmed some stuff on Thursday with Walt and at the studio. We did some green screen stuff. So on Friday, we put that stuff together. And I mean, I'm gonna just get into this. It's in a small way,
But because you did that presentation at the beginning of the show where you showed clips from January 6th, and you were talking about how it wasn't a big deal. And it was a peaceful.
yes, that's
protest.
right. Yes, no, but we got to Smodcastle. I want to talk about this because it's kind of just a funny thing.
Okay.
And when we booked the show, I talked to Ernie O'Donnell, who runs the Smodcastle, and he's like, "Yeah, the main room holds about 200, and I think the room holds 225." And leading up to the show, it was supposed to be just our show, and we were gonna, promote it and hope people come out. But then, right when we confirmed the show, we were told, "Oh, by the way, right after your show, we're gonna make it kind of a double feature thing, and we're gonna show the Impractical Jokers movie." And Quinn from Practical Jokers, who I work with Gitem Steve-Dave, and Kevin Smith are going to do a Q&A afterwards. And we were like, "Oh, that's awesome. That's probably going to get more people to the area that night.
Right.
It's going to be helpful." But when I originally booked it, I was like, "All right, the whole Raymond was 225. How about the other theaters?" And he's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "We have all different numbers. It goes down to like 80." He goes, "And you can do," and I go, "We could do it any of those?" And he's like, "Yeah, all of them can show whatever you want." And I was like, "Oh, that's great." And he goes, "Yeah, if you get at least 100 people, I think the main room would be fine." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." So we were talking about like, this is our first time in New Jersey. It's this really weird show. Like, we don't know who's going to show up.
Right.
So by the day of the show, we had sold about 70 tickets, which I'm really happy with. I think that's really great.
Yeah.
Really, really gonna be a fun time.
Ernie told me I sold 65 of them.
Yes.
Yes, that's
I don't
right.
know. It could,
I
yeah.
bought 4 of them.
I got
You sold a
tickets.
ticket.
Yeah, that's right. So, and by the way,
It was O'Halloran.
I did. Me and Jennifer Kaminsky went around all over New Jersey 2 days and just flyered like crazy. And I think it helps. And I think it's funny. We talked to a lot of people in the community, which actually leads to something that night, which we're going to talk about.
Bon Jovi.
Bon
was there.
Jovi was here. So we get there, and our buddy Christian works at Smodcastle. He's the guy who kind of does a lot of the AV
And
stuff.
he's Jewish. It's weird.
And I said, "Christian," I'm like, "All right, so what are the rooms?" And I was like, "All right, there's one room that holds 80 people. So I think we should just do it in there since we sold 70 tickets." And they're kind of, at the Smodcastle, they were kind of like, no, you're going to do it in the main room. And I was like, "Oh, the main room holds 225. We sold 70 tickets. It'll be 2/3 empty." And they're like, "No, that'd be fine." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, we sold 70 tickets. We were told we could do it in one room. And also they take half the door, which is a very big cut." So I'm like, we kind of already agreed on this. Like, and it was really awkward for like 2 hours of us kind of going back and forth. And it essentially became a thing where it's like, well, we set up this second screening, and so everything is set up for this room. And I was like, I don't know. Whatever you do is fine.
That sounds like a you problem
I
or
just-
a Q problem.
And it's funny because the good guys over there,
Sure,
definitely.
yeah.
But I'm no longer in the place where I'm just gonna treat everything like I'm lucky to be there.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I
you're a diva.
realized that a long time ago.
You're a diva, yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, man. Like you're getting half the door. We made this agreement. Like, we got to figure this out.
Sure, yeah.
And so we did. And I think everything went positively. But here's the hard thing about it. We were like fucking running up against the clock.
Yes,
Oh,
we were.
yeah.
We did not, because we kind of forced that and we had to provide a lot of our own equipment to do that. we went right up until like 7:10 or something like that until we
Yeah.
were ready.
Yeah.
You guys ran out and got the scripts printed.
Yep.
And on top of that, because of that, our buddies Brian Ruppert, Steve came like to help us out and film. I wasn't able to help them set up the cameras, and it was cameras that were foreign to them. So we got 3 angles. 2 of them are out of focus. Again, not Brian and Steve's fault. This is because we just had so much stuff, and I'm the one putting together the audio and doing all this stuff. But it's fine because really I just wanted to make sure the show was captured, and one angle is the wide angle is in focus, and we have the whole thing.
Good. And we're gonna play a little bit of it at the end.
So I was going to say, and we got a great audio rip of it because it went through our recorder. So I actually have separate tracks for everybody and stuff like that. So at the end of this video, we are going to put up some of the show. We're not sure exactly how much yet, but we're going to put up some stuff. We did some Q&A at the end, but it was all of us, plus Brian O'Halloran, obviously. But it was a real fucking like we're like trying to get everything done. When I wanted to run through the script a little bit before the show, and one thing we didn't realize until we got on stage, 2 of the pages were missing.
Yes.
And one of the pages was wrong.
Yes.
We had redrawn it later.
Yikes.
And I said, hey, Brad, go check and make sure this page is right. And he's like, it's right. I was like, what the hell happened?
That one was right.
No, it wasn't. It was 19. It was 19 that was wrong.
19 was right.
No, it was wrong.
There was no 19B.
So as a stand-up comedian, I didn't need to print anything.
Right.
I didn't need to go over slides, and I didn't need to figure out pages. So
No, it
I
was-
was just like, what do you need? Right.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
And it
yeah.
was
Right.
and it was weird
Oh,
because
yeah.
I can't. There's not much I could do in that
Oh,
situation.
no. Honestly, what it should have been was we should have just had some time to sit down with the script, go over it, look at it, talk about it, run through some of it, and then we would have been fine.
Yeah.
But we just lost that time because it became the time where we had to argue about the rooms.
Yeah.
Provide all the equipment for the rooms.
Yeah.
Then start testing all of it. Like, we've never done this in here. We've never done this in here. And
Yeah.
test all of that. So we just kind of lost that. But I mean, it ended up fine.
Yeah.
Crowd came out, and
Great group of people.
Warm
Great
crowd. Yeah.
Such a nice, welcoming group of people. It was nice.
absolutely.
It was nice.
Yeah.
And here's
It
the
was
thing:
nice.
when we come out, I always
Okay.
kind to say like, who here has seen this before? Blah blah. To gauge, do these people know what they're going to see,
Right.
Or are
Yeah.
they going to be surprised by it? Because those are 2 different groups. And I'd say about half the people knew what they were going to see,
Right.
And about half were like, we just bought tickets to this thing and we don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
So we did our opening bit.
I haven't even seen Clerks.
What is Clerks?
Did you say Clerks?
Yeah,
was gonna say.
Isn't it a prequel to the Christmas Vacation?
Oh, boy.
Clarks.
It's a series of Clarks.
That's his first name. Anyway, so
Yeah.
so
There's Clark Griswold. There's Clark Kent.
yes,
Give me one more.
and so that's
Clark.
So Clark Kent is in a prequel
Clark
to National
Barr.
Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
But our opening bit is kind of about what Brad and I's relationship is. And it kind of, and I don't want to say it requires a lot of moving parts, but there is like a narrative to
I
all
think
the
this
videos.
relationship requires a lot of
Yeah,
moving
it
parts.
does.
And I think that went really well. And to me,
Yeah.
that was the test of like, how well is this show going to go?
Sure,
over?
yeah,
Are they
yeah,
going to
yeah,
go
yeah.
with this
Yeah.
fictional kind of obviously fantastical kind of thing?
Right.
And they did.
Yeah.
And then we called Ray up, and I'm like, I hope this goes well. He's doing stand up in a movie theater to people that have no idea who any of us are. Well, for half the crowd. About it.
I mean,
And-
I'm used to doing stand-up to people that don't know who I am. I
Not
mean,
in a
that's
movie
stand-up
theater.
comedy.
Yeah.
I've done stand-up in a movie theater where people are like, "What's this?" You know what I mean?
Oh, really?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've done stand-up.
It was
in
the
any
middle
kind
of
thing.
Schindler's List, Ray. You're
Well-
like, let me lighten the mood.
Listen, when I notice a show is sagging,
Hey,
I was like,
everybody, we
nobody's
gotta-
laughing.
We
Kill
got-
it.
We
kill
gotta
it.
get this thing snapping.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, shut it down for a second, right?
Yeah.
Who here is Jewish?
A lot of hands. Seeing a lot of hands.
Seeing a lot of hands up. A little too high, though. You don't want to do a full... You got to bend that elbow when you raise that hand up, if you know what I'm saying. It's a Nazi salute.
But it went really well.
Look at this guy. This guy knows what I mean.
This guy knows what I mean, and it's Hitler. He's like, what? No, don't. I don't. This is why I didn't want to sit up front. This is. Don't pick on me. Oh, here he goes. Here he goes. Oh my God. Now I want to see that sketch.
Yeah.
Hitler.
in a crowd work clip of a comedian on Instagram.
Yeah.
And
Or-
it's Adolf Hitler. That's me. Where are you from? Oh,
Deutschland.
Originally from Austria. Okay.
I lived in Venezuela for a while.
Just like the Dalai
Towards
Lama.
the end of my life, I did.
I will say, just like the Dalai Lama, are we sure the translations of what Hitler said?
Context clues again, right? But I do love that idea because, crowd work clips are a thing,
The
right?
idea of making fun of crowd work clips is funny.
And it being Hitler,
Oh, yeah, that's
the
fun.
visual of Hitler being the guy that's like, oh no, he's gonna mess with
Yeah.
me is so funny. Just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
here we go. Okay.
Yeah,
yes. I have a stupid mustache. Okay. All right. Yes, my hair is too long. Okay. Whatever. Yes, I want to do a genocide. Whatever. Okay.
So-
sorry. I'm so sorry.
How long have the two of you been together?
Ava, we've been together for a little while. To the day we die. To the day on the same day.
Oh, okay.
That's weird to say.
Huh?
How do you know that?
I'm going to shoot my dog and my wife.
So, but it all went really well. Opening went really well. Stand up went really well.
Yeah, it is weird doing stand up in that moment
Of course.
because the opening and the Bradley drawn bit are presentational.
Yes.
Exactly.
And to do stand up is I guess there are some stand ups who are presentational, but it is weird to come out and do that. There is a feeling almost like the projector broke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
So I did notice in the first few minutes, there was this kind of, all right, come with me. I will guide you through this.
Right.
Everybody was great. They were really
Yeah.
warm. It is just a different form of comedy. There are different
Yeah.
things happening. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't want to
Absolutely.
get too comedy nerd.
No. Me and Brad and I and Brian O'Halloran were like right outside the door. O'Halloran, by the way, super nice guy. Obviously, you guys.
Oh, yeah.
You met him that day for the first time. Brad and I
Yeah.
met him like a bunch of times. But he's very kind, and we could hear through the door. Everyone was like so on board.
Yeah.
Especially,
No, it was fun.
especially like by the end, everyone was extremely psyched. You know.
Yeah. Because I was taking off articles of clothing as I went along.
Yes, and they were psyched that it was coming to an end.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Put it on. That's what they were saying.
But we went out there.
And O'Halloran, I want to say really quickly, like I was excited. My own personal thing is Clerks is an important movie to me for
Right.
my life, right?
Yes, right.
Because Clerks was the movie. It was the first movie I saw as a like younger teenager where I was aware that a guy made it.
Yes,
Does that make
exactly.
sense?
Yes.
Like before that, it was like director. Like, okay, I don't know what that really means,
Right.
or didn't really think about it. It wasn't until Clerks where I was like, oh, the director is a guy named Kevin Smith, and Kevin Smith plays Silent Bob.
Yeah.
And there are tons of like dirty jokes in this movie that I like and make me laugh.
Yep.
And I can understand the feeling of being stuck. Because I'm a teenager,
Right. Sure.
Literally stuck, right? Not literally. I wasn't like in a tube or something.
It was like a Winnie the Pooh situation.
It really was.
Yeah.
It really was.
It was Brad was Rabbit.
Yeah, Brad bit.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I was like, so this is just a guy.
Yeah.
Like it's
Right.
just a guy.
Yeah.
Who likes movies, and he made one. And that really opened my eyes to like filmmaking. It was the first time I felt like it was something you could do.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's really important to me. You know what I mean? Like, and it was nice to be able to tell Kevin that later. I don't
Yeah.
want to jump towards the end of this, but
Yeah.
to tell him that and be like, and then I made a documentary for $5,000 and had no business doing it,
Right.
but sold it to Hulu and did that stuff and it did these things. It was really nice to be able to say like, thank you for showing me, and I'm sure a million other,
Right.
men and women just like me at that age. Oh, you can make a movie.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Right.
That's
No,
cool. That's
no,
a really cool thing.
No, true, and that happened to me too. And I've been working with Kevin for years, so I kind of had
Yeah.
that exact same experience when we first started working
Okay,
together.
I'm sorry, mine wasn't as cool as yours.
No, it's not.
I like
I'm
how
just
you're
saying-
like, no, me too, and also more.
No, I wasn't saying and more, but
No, I know,
I
I
went
know.
through the same thing.
Yeah,
exact
yeah.
same thing.
I was just glad to see a movie that normalized the amount of oral sex that I had been having,
Having?
Finally.
had been having.
Yeah. But it's funny
Giving.
because one of the
Giving
things
more than having.
we've talked about over the years, Ray and I specifically, is how do you do a take on a comedy movie
Right.
to make it funny? And Brad and I came up against this when we first wrote this bit, which was, back for Rhode Island Comic Con in maybe 2019 or 18 or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we didn't really look through the whole script until we were on stage because we had already
Yeah.
gone through it a bunch of times.
Right.
And I remembered some of the takes that we had, and I was actually really proud of us.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, did you get to see the bit? Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I watched the bit.
You were in the room.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it was one of
reason I asked
the
was-
one of the 4 tickets I bought went to Ray.
Yeah, I wanted to be in the room to see you guys perform.
Yes.
I didn't wait out in the hallway.
Right. I was going to say the reason I asked that is because there was
Hang on, I'm jimming the camera when
there was 2 doors, and that's where we kind of used as like the
Yeah, there was
green
no.
room.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
awkward. Like when I came in, I had to go immediately to the back
and sit with Christian.
and just sort of stand there in the wires.
Yeah.
because and if you guys had opened the door and were watching the stand up, like that would have been weird and distracting.
Oh, yeah.
You know what
Yes,
I mean?
for sure.
Yeah.
No, but it's
Why
funny.
is he touching himself?
I mean,
You know,
one of the
all
things that we have as a benefit of this bit is that Brad's drawings, it doesn't matter if it's parodying comedy moments or whatever.
No, because the jokes are about the drawing.
There's that.
Yeah.
But we did have to take on Jay and Silent Bob. And the way that we did it was that in Brad's mind, he changed them to be like these old school characters that talked in like old English and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So turning, Jay's famous like smoking weed, drinking beer into the inhaling cannabis, ingesting ale, that whole thing.
Yeah.
Ended up being really fun. But it's funny because I got to revisit it on stage because I didn't really remember a lot of that stuff when we originally wrote it. But the bit went really well. The crowd, again, was very warm, very fun. Christian did a great job. I think that you did a great job pivoting when you realized that we were missing those 2 drawings.
Yeah.
And which didn't make a difference for the show. It was almost like they were tag drawings. Because
Yes.
sometimes what we'll do is we'll do a drawing that has like, let's say Brad draws a scene, and there's a joke within the drawing that seems like a throwaway joke. Example in this is that there's a character named Veronica, and she's holding a fire extinguisher.
Right.
And in the narration, we say that she's holding a penguin or something. And that's a throwaway joke at the beginning of that explanation.
because the drawing is bad and looks like a penguin.
And it looks like a penguin. But the tag part, what?
I was going to say, or fire extinguishers naturally look like penguins. So,
And the tag was that there's a close up on the fire extinguisher afterwards, and there's a speech bubble that says quack, quack.
Yeah.
And then he says quack, quack. And then you have an offside thing that's like, penguins don't say, don't quack.
Yeah.
But you were able to kind of recognize that those 2 were missing, and we jumped over them.
Well, you know what they say? If it looks like a fire extinguisher and it quacks like a duck, it's a penguin.
they do say that.
They
Thank
say
you.
that. They say that all the time.
Yes.
But the crowd was super warm, and then we called Ray back up, and we probably did like, I'd say maybe like 10 to 15 of like Q&A and telling stories about it.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long.
I mean, there wasn't a lot of Q to A.
No.
I think everybody had their Q's A'd previously.
Yeah.
So I think, there wasn't a lot of A'ing of Q's that needed to happen.
But we call it a Q&A. But
Yeah.
it's really just like a chill out talk.
Yeah. And I think people were disappointed. They thought it was going to be a Q and Ray,
Yeah.
which was me talking to Quinn.
You're right.
About the Impractical Jokers movie.
Right.
And basically being like, was that real? When you talked to that guy, was that like a real thing?
Was it real?
Was it real?
But super warm.
Yeah.
A lot of the people afterwards talked to us that had no idea what the show was going to be or who we
Right.
were and everything. And they were all super, super nice.
Yeah.
And we kind of had this situation where when we were promoting earlier, like a week beforehand or so, we went to this diner across the street, and I went to go put up a flyer.
We weren't there, but
Brad and Ray weren't there. And the woman said like, "Oh, this is cool. I just bought this diner a month ago. We're actually planning to stay open late." And so we were like, "Oh, that's awesome. We have nowhere to go after our shows because everything in that area closes kind of early ever since COVID."
We were just gonna break windows, I guess.
Yeah, just throw bottles at trains.
Yeah.
And
Or jars.
she was like,
Oh wait, that's a call forward now.
Yeah.
she was like, "We're going to."
Tease.
She's like, "We're going to, we'll stay open if you guys think that you can bring people over on Friday night after your show." And I'm like, people will definitely be looking for a place to go. And so we were like, we have a place to go. And it's funny because originally I was hoping that the 3 of us and maybe whoever was with us, like Ruppert and Jen and everybody, would go and watch the Practical Jokers movie.
Right.
But then I realized how packed it was.
Yeah.
And how there was like nowhere to sit. There'd be nowhere to go. The theater
Yeah.
was already kind of full.
That would have been weird.
And I was like, oh, this is tough. So, I saw Q in the hallway and I kind of talked to him real quick. And he's like, oh, how'd the show go? And stuff like that. And, I saw him for a minute. But then it was basically the 3 of us and then Gitem, Rupert and Steve, we went across the street to the diner, which didn't open for like 45 minutes, and we just like hung out outside for a while.
Yeah.
Then the people in the diner came and they opened up, and we had like a 4-hour hang in that diner.
Yeah.
And it slowly.
What was the thing? We did Sopranos as.
I think we went back to our timeshare stuff for the Sopranos, which is
It was the timeshare,
me and you did privately.
We hit something else on that too.
Yeah, it was.
Maybe I think it was like they do it was Tony Starts a Podcast.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
It was Tony Starts a Podcast.
Yeah.
Tony Soprano doing a podcast. That was very fun.
Oh, it was
very fun.
I think, and throughout the 4 hours, it just kind of like filled up like 100%.
Yeah.
But the jokes that night, like all of us sitting in those two booths, all we did was just joke for hours, and it was so
Daniel
much
Stern
fun.
could have done a narration over the
Yeah.
whole thing.
It
was a
would
real
have had
nice
us
moment.
laughing, and it would have been like the slow push out.
And if it's Daniel Stern doing the narration, it's a good, positive moment. And if it's Ray Liotta doing it, we're about to hit some fucking shit. You know what I mean? I will say, here's what else happened there. Add a little more flavor to this, literally.
Yeah.
We tried something for the first time
I know. I was going to
at
bring
the
this up.
diner.
Yeah.
It is a New Jersey delicacy.
That's how they say it.
Yeah, this is a delicacy here, okay? Right? They do that. Depending on what part of Jersey you're in,
Yes.
it is either called Taylor ham.
Yes.
Taylor ham.
You got your Taylor ham.
You got your Taylor ham, all right?
Yeah.
Or pork roll.
I prefer pork roll.
Honestly, I think pork roll is more accurate.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a disgusting term.
Yes.
Pork roll. Even just saying the
You know
words.
what? If we all started a dance craze, that might
The
be
pork
what it's
roll?
called.
That's my drag name. Pork roll. Another call forward. Sorry. But no, that's so we tried pork roll. It was on the menu with it's on the menu within the breakfast items of
Right.
do you want bacon, sausage, ham, pork roll.
Right. Yeah.
And when I hear that, I think of a sausage roll, which is like a British thing. And that's actually like a pastry-ish thing with
Right.
sausage meat in it,
Yes.
which is still delicious. It's
For
good.
sure.
But I was like, what is it? What is pork roll?
Yeah.
And they were like, do you want to try it? And they were nice enough to bring out a little plate of pork roll.
Right.
Yeah.
And we looked at it, and it's just a disc with slits cut in it so it doesn't curl when
Yeah.
it cooks.
Fry it or whatever.
Yeah, you just throw it on like a hot
griddle.
hot plate griddle thing, a flat top.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, I was like, it's bologna. It's just fried bologna.
They were pretty mad that you called it bologna.
Yeah, they said that was bologna that I said it.
They did say that.
And we got in a fist fight.
Yep.
And it was a whole thing.
This is a
and then,
Jersey fist fight.
Yeah. And then I was like, well, at least I didn't call it Taylor ham. And
Yeah.
they were like, okay, fine.
He gets it. This
You-
guy knows
This
it.
guy gets it.
Yeah.
And so we tried it. It's not bologna.
Yeah.
It is something else.
Yes.
It's very difficult to describe it. It's got like the pushback of like a snappy hot dog.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
It's you know what I mean? I don't know. It's-
I love it.
and it's like Spamish,
Yes.
but not gross,
Right.
and yet still has properties of a balagna.
Yeah,
right?
it does.
It's weird. It's hard to
It's a
describe.
spiced ham, I think, right?
Yeah, and it's just like super salty. It
Yeah.
is a salt bomb.
Yes.
Yeah.
But holy shit, is it delicious?
It was great.
I loved it.
We-
and then we had pork roll like 3 or 4 other times
Oh,
for the rest of the week.
I was gonna say that the diner experience was awesome. Like, not
Sure.
only the hang was great, but like the woman who was the owner, like we were
So
sitting there,
welcoming, so wonderful.
and they just brought over 2 plates of like a bunch of appetizers that they didn't even charge us for. They were just like, "Oh,
Yeah.
while you guys wait for everybody else." I had a great tuna melt,
Mm-hmm.
and we were joking around with everybody the whole time, and it was awesome that it did fill up. I felt good about that.
Yeah, packed.
And I talked to the owner afterwards, and I was like, because I was like, "Oh, is this too many people?" And I asked her, I was like, "Is this enough? And if it is enough, is it too many? Like, let me know." And she's like, "This is perfect."
Yeah.
And so they really were.
And I can't imagine a diner owner being like, "Oh, too many people are coming to my business."
Well, I just didn't know because she had 3 of the cooks come back, so I wanted to make sure they weren't overloaded.
Yeah, and
But,
one would be fired.
Yeah.
But we went back to the house, went to sleep, and then Saturday.
Wow, we are really breaking.
Well, I
this
was going to say, with Saturday we were originally going to have
One of us had a dream about math class. One of us had a dream about being late for a train. And one of us had a dream about being named Mr. Universe and winning the Super Bowl and kissing a bikini babe and feeling that it was deserved.
Yeah, mine was the train.
Yeah, mine was math class.
So anyway, but Saturday we had open originally because we were like, all right, we really want to get the Walton Gitem thing. We really want to get Casey Jost, and we kind of were shuffling around. We're like,
And
maybe maybe we're going to talk to Kevin and Q, which we should go back to that, and maybe we could do a podcast with somebody. But we did go back to the theater actually at the very end of the night, and we didn't have a chance to talk to Kevin before the show. But that's when I introduced Brad and Ray to Kevin after the Q&A and everything, and that was fun that you guys
Yeah, it was
talked
nice.
to him.
He gave me a hug.
Yes.
It was a nice hug.
Yes.
Because when I told him the thing about the documentary and stuff, and I was like, and you're the guy that, showed me I could do that. And he stood up out of his chair and he put his arms out and he gave me a hug and he's like, and you're the guy that fucking did it. And I'm like, oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It was very nice. It was a very nice meeting of a personality. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like it was
of
a
course.
nice thing.
The guy that played a role in your creative journey.
Yeah. And then he stuck his tongue out.
Yeah. But hold on. What was the translation?
Yes.
Are we sure?
It
was Jersey to English.
It was Jersey to English, which is very tough. Which is very tough.
Suck my pork roll.
Yeah,
I think
that's what he said. Suck my pork roll. Ugh. You know what I never want to hear in like a porn? Jersey accent. I'm gonna fuck you so hard.
Well, I was gonna say, I gotta be honest. My pork roll 5-star experience was actually the next morning because
we went bagel place.
We went to a bagel place.
Yeah, that was good.
I got an everything egg bagel with egg cheese, hash browns, and pork roll, and it was one of the best bagel sandwiches I ever had in my life. Easy.
It was great. I had almost the same thing, except I added salt, pepper, ketchup. And
That breaks your rule. You said that you never will eat a sandwich that has more than 2 ingredients.
first of all, I never said that. Secondly,
You're a liar.
secondly, it was 3 ingredients. No, it was delicious. It was
Salt bomb.
Oh, it was a salt H bomb.
Yeah.
There was a lot. My body hurt from that sandwich, but it was so worth it. It was
so
such a
good.
good, the culinary experience is often used for like high class things.
Yeah.
But this was a culinary
Listen, it was
experience.
fucking awesome.
Sometimes you got to go to a new place and experience their trash.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what this was. Yeah.
Chicago dogs, a lot of stuff like that.
There's
I love it.
there is trash in every place,
Yeah.
right?
Delicious
Rhode Island
trash.
is just really proud of theirs.
Right.
The best.
They have so many different ones that they're like, no, this is our food. No, this is our food. You know what we love? Room temperature, almost complete pizza.
Yep.
I love it.
Pizza strips. Anyway, I do have a thing about the pork roll. So cut to a few days later.
Okay.
I am on a cruise ship in the Bahamas region.
Blowing the horn.
He was named the Horn. You're right.
You're like, hey, get
I
down
was like,
here.
yeah, come on down. I'm tugging his shirt.
Yep.
It's so dumb.
really is.
It really is dumb. Yeah. I was wearing a life jacket.
Yeah.
It was the whole thing. He gave me a sailor hat.
Oh, all right.
I was very happy with
I was
that.
hoping you were wearing a Taylor hat.
A sailor hat.
Oh.
You said Taylor.
Yeah, it's a hat made of Taylor ham.
So don't say that. Don't you fucking say that. It's pork roll. But yeah, it is in North New Jersey. They refer to it as Taylor ham because that's the brand.
Yeah.
And then Southern New Jersey, they refer to it as pork roll.
Right.
Right.
It's a more generic
and they're like,
term.
not Taylor ham. And I think they might say Taylor ham more than the people that call it Taylor ham.
Yeah.
So I was on the boat, right? And I was backstage in the theater about to go on. And the cruise director comes in because she's going to introduce the show.
Right.
And she's like, where are you from? And we're doing small talk. And she's like, I'm from New Jersey. I'm like, I was just there this weekend. And she's like, oh, cool. And, I was telling her a little bit about what was going on. I couldn't remember where we were.
Yep.
And I was like, something Atlantic, right? And she's
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
A Favor House Atlantic.
Yes. And I was like, Atlantic Ocean? And she, we're going back and forth. And I said, oh, I had pork roll for the first time. She lit up And she's like, oh, you did. And thank you for not calling it Taylor ham. And she said that. I'm like, yeah, see, I know what the deal is. And we talked about it for a minute. But that was so funny to like meet someone from New Jersey in the middle of the ocean in the Bahamas and be like, pork roll? And then, yeah, fuck yeah.
I had a
carve it in my arm.
I had kind of a similar thing, but it's funny because I'm on the other end of the conversation where I was talking to our buddy Lou, and Lou is a chef. He went to the Culinary Institute of America in New York, and he worked in Melbourne, all these different places. And he's in Austin. I was telling him about the trip, and I told him about pork roll. He's like, pork roll? He's like, I've never had that. And I was explaining what it is. He's like, huh, I've never heard of it. And I was like, yeah. And I was telling him about the bagel sandwiches. He goes, wait a minute. Do you mean Taylor Ham? Blocked his number. No, but yeah. So the next
Taylor Ham also just sounds like somebody's name.
Yeah, exactly. It's a country singer.
Yeah, it's John Ham's son Taylor.
Yeah.
Taylor Ham.
But
and everybody in Jersey's like, go fuck yourself. Right? You're like, what? Your pork roll.
But I also took you guys to Afonso's Bakery in Staten Island.
Yeah.
And we got the coffee cake.
Oh man, that coffee cake was great.
The coffee cake was a killer.
Yeah. You ever have a thing that you have an expectation for? Because there was another place we went to and we had coffee cake, and it was so unsatisfactory.
Yes.
There was so much dissatisfaction in my life when I ate that.
It creates so much dissatisfaction that now you have a mission to erase
it. Yeah. Because you have an expectation with coffee cake. I like a good coffee cake. I very rarely have it, but when I do, I'm like, ooh, coffee cake. And this was just not what you expect. It was dry. It didn't really have the same like flavor. It was biscuity almost.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not coffee.
I know.
That's just a cinnamon muffin.
And it's funny because
ash cake.
I never had a coffee cake from Afonso, so I didn't know if it would be good. And
Yeah.
I had one bite outside, and I was like, "Oh, baby."
Yeah, you have an expectation, and then so to erase that, you know what I mean? Has that happened to you? I can't think of a specific, but I know it's happened before.
It happens to me constantly.
Where I'm like, ooh, that thing, and then I eat it, and I'm like, this isn't that thing.
Happens to me constantly with banana pudding. I've taken Brad on drives to get banana pudding for hours.
It's true. It's
What?
terrible.
What are you Are you in the early stages of dementia? Are you 85 years old?
I don't
and you're
know-
like,
I
I
don't know
gotta
that the-
find banana pudding.
I don't know that they're early stages anymore.
I gotta find banana pudding.
We'll drive.
It does
and
make
drive.
sense though.
And we'll go to
for
places
dementia.
and they're closed.
Yeah,
and
he
go to
looks for
another-
banana pudding, goes antiquing, and gets erections at inopportune times.
He's a grandfather. We'll
Suck my tongue.
My tongue.
we'll finish a meal and like, oh wow, we're so full. And Chuck's like, you know what I could go for? And I'm like, please don't say it. Please don't say it. Please don't say it. Banana pudding. And then he's like, you know what? I went to a restaurant one time in Lincoln, Rhode Island that had banana pudding. Let's just drive to Lincoln. I'm like, what was the restaurant? He's like, I'll remember it when I see it.
Yeah. He drives right by Puds.
Yeah.
You're a lucky duck that you have all these experiences.
Well, and then we pull up at
The duck is dead.
Puds. He's like, oh, they close at 6 p.m. I should have remembered.
It's happened
Not
so
a lot
much.
of call for late night Puds.
And then if you start Googling banana pudding,
Yep.
and I'm like, oh, this one's not
And
good
then
enough.
he starts looking at the
that's
images
true.
of banana pudding.
That's true. I'm like, what about this place? He's like, nah, it's not good.
For banana pudding.
Yeah.
Gross. You know what I like? Artificial banana flavor.
Yeah.
The one fruit flavor they've gotten totally right. Right? The artificial banana flavor is fucking gross. You know those little candies that are banana?
Yes.
Those are the
Disgusting.
best. You must
They're
like runts.
so
That's a
gross.
run. It's called a run.
Watch your fucking mouth.
I don't like the banana ones. I know that.
Are you
Yeah.
kidding?
The other ones, to me, taste super sugary. The banana ones taste
Like banana. Thank
like-
you.
No,
More healthy.
Artificial
Like
banana
ash.
flavor is gross, and I don't like it.
You're
Because look, most artificial flavor things aren't really like the thing. Like grape flavored things,
No, they taste
grape
purple.
flavor tastes like grape flavor.
Yes, for
right.
sure.
Strawberry, I think, is closer to that as well.
Right.
But then you get banana, where you're just like, what are you trying to make here? It
I love
doesn't
it.
taste like it.
So you wanted to get Magnolia
Apple crisp.
Apple crisp.
They do make a.
They make an incredible banana pudding.
Yeah.
So good.
But I wanted the apple crisp.
Well-
I'm an apple crisp boy.
I would blindfold you, and then you try the banana pudding. I say, which do you like better? You'd say banana pudding.
I would spit the banana pudding out of my mouth.
It's funny because why would I blindfold you?
Yeah. Oh, because you do that for all of these little games, all your twisted
Also,
delights.
the idea of blind, like, I can't tell which one was apple crisp.
Yeah.
One of them was
Banana
crisp.
pudding or apple crisp.
Hang on. Crunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for this game, you want me to pull my teeth out? Just swallow it.
It's 50.
I'm gonna choke.
I love banana pudding. I'll do anything for banana pudding.
I
So-
like the idea of you doing that and being like, all right, I'm going to blindfold you for this. And you reach in your back pocket and already have a blindfold. I feel like you are a person that would have a blindfold.
Here's your warm blindfold.
Yeah. Ooh.
It's late. Your name is on it.
Yeah.
You're
It's like, oh,
"What?"
wait, no, not that one. And then you pull out a different one.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
This one's for other things.
So that night we kind of split up because Ray knew that he had to get up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
to go on this cruise, and Brad and I had a Wrestlemania night one party to head to.
Very different lifestyles are happening right there.
Which,
I need to go to bed early because I have to go fly away for work. And you guys are like, well, we have to go do a wrestling party.
Yes.
Yes,
Right?
yeah, we're fun.
Yeah.
Ray's dumb, and I like how
Earning
simple-
money for myself and my family. What an idiot.
So
I'm going to go do my wrestling.
why do you mock me so?
I'm going to make sure you bring a hot dish for the wrestling.
I wish I had $1 for every time you've mocked me in my life.
You just called me dumb because I didn't go to the wrestling party.
You were intimidated, and, and so Brad made his famous Brad's beef. Remember?
Yeah. Beefy Brad's pull my beef sandwiches.
That's what he called
Can I
them.
be honest with you?
Yeah.
For something that has such a specific like Brad name to it,
Yeah.
I saw you make it.
Yeah.
When I say make, I saw you dump
Assemble
things
it.
in
Yeah.
to a crock pot
Yes.
and walk away.
Yeah. Well, that's how crockpots work, right?
I know, but it was the
Oh,
idea of it. What?
No, it's
You're on his side with the beef?
when it was really like pull my beef sandwiches. It was a roast and this blah blah blah, and then
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
shredding it.
Yeah.
I used shaved steak because I like the texture of
Taylor
that.
steak.
Yes,
Yes,
sorry,
the-
Taylor steak.
Steak roll.
Steak roll.
Because I like the texture of those sandwiches better. That's all.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I was just making a goof.
Yeah, no,
But we had this this party that we do once in a while at Gitem Steve-Dave Studios, and it was myself, Brad, Jen, Jimmy the hair guy, Michelle, Gitem,
You're making up half
all
of
these different
names.
people, Lindsay, and it was good. And we,
Darnell,
there was a couple. I'm just gonna say is there was a couple
Bill,
of ladies there
Big Bill,
that have a little bit of a
Doorknob Steve,
a couple ladies there that have a little bit of a rift, and they were all very.
Carol the Foot.
It was very copacetic.
Yeah, it was.
Carol the
It,
Foot was getting along with Jimmy the hair guy.
it was a fun night. Franzio got a little tipsy.
Franzia got a little into the Franzia.
Yeah, there we go. No, it was
Box
it was,
wine Bill.
It was a fun, just a fun collegial time.
It was awesome. It was very, very fun because they have that, they have this monstrous conference table that
Yeah.
was there when they rented the studio. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
the people were like, well, yeah, we'll throw out the table when you guys move in. And Walt was like, no, we're keeping this table.
Yeah.
It's like a table that could seat 12 people. But it's awesome.
We sat at it,
the
viewer,
game.
listener, viewer. You can see it in the
Psychic
psychic trivia
Yeah.
game that was posted today as we record, on day of recording.
That's right.
Yeah.
So great time. Headed home, and I knew I had to stay up until Ray had to go to the airport because
Mm-hmm.
I was going to bring him. So I just sat on the couch, and for some reason, while you guys were there, we got into watching cringe videos on YouTube.
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
three of us,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we're just
yeah.
like, we're just
Well,
watching.
it's like
cringe-
we have 7 minutes of downtime and YouTube is open on your TV. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, what can we all enjoy for 7 minutes?
yeah, cringe and fails essentially was
sure.
what it was.
Yeah.
But originally I was like, I'm just gonna go to sleep for a little bit. But then I was like, it's 2 a.m. What am I gonna do? Go to sleep for 2.5 hours?
Yeah.
So I just stayed up, and then we went to the airport, nice and easy. It's like 20 minutes from my house, so nothing. Not a big
You know
deal.
what was fun? You dropped me off at Terminal 1 or whatever,
I
Terminal
know.
whatever it was. And as soon as I got out of the car and you drove away, I got a text on my phone from the airline, and it said, your gate has been moved to Terminal 4.
Of course.
And I'm like,
Of course.
great. I had to take like a bus over there.
Nice.
It was so annoying. It was so annoying.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm seeing your car drive away. It was so
You're
funny.
grabbing all your stuff. You have the goofy hat from Disney World for some reason with the teeth on it.
The music from Home Alone starts
Yep.
kicking in.
So at that point, our trips split, and I'll finish Brad.
Our
and I-
stories differ.
I'll finish Brad and I because ours
Ew.
was almost done. And
Okay.
Yeah.
Ray continues.
Yes.
Oh, does it continue? But we had a pretty. I don't remember what we did on Sunday day.
Sunday day, we drove to the cookie jar.
Oh, we went to the cookie jar in Staten Island. How were those cookies?
Those cookies were delicious.
Yes.
I also had unrelated to cookies, a biscuit egg sandwich, and the biscuit was
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, I had a great sandwich too.
yeah, it was
didn't
good.
I?
It was good stuff. And then kind of drove around Staten Island a little bit. Chuck was looking for walking trails from the car, and then got back. And I think, no, that wasn't the day you took a nap. That was the day before. We had to get ready to film. You had to film with Tell 'em Steve-Dave that
Yeah,
night.
that's right. So I had a filming gig with Gitem Steve-Dave. So Brad came and actually helped out, and then we had another Wrestlemania party because it was 2 nights.
Yeah.
Again, great time with those guys. Like,
Yep.
it's a great place to just hang out. And Monday we drove home, and halfway home, as I promised, surprise for Brad, the only open Quiznos on the East Coast. Halfway between my apartment in Staten Island and
It
my
was-
home in Rhode Island.
Delicious. Right.
What? What are you shaking at?
No, just the idea of it, like the only open and operating Quiznos on the East Coast for you.
I was super psyched.
It's so funny.
I think the last time we had been to Quiznos had been like 2013.
Oh yeah. We love Quiznos.
They're gonna ask if I want it toasted.
They didn't even
I'll
have
say-
to.
There was an old episode of the Chuck and Brad podcast very early on where we talked about like our love for Quiznos and how they were shutting down locations, and we called it Quizzies in Crisis.
Yeah,
And you know what? If you ask me, the wrong sandwich chain won.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Well,
Quiznos never had a pedophile
I found out
that
this
we
is,
commercial.
know of. Yeah.
In a commercial.
this is hearsay.
I heard a lot of pedophiles did work there.
This is hearsay, but I heard that the reason Quiznos closed was because the parent company made a rule for all the franchisees that they said they had to buy their food directly, their like meat products and everything directly from the company that owns
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
And they inflated those prices to the point
Yeah.
where the Quiznos sandwich prices had to raise so much that it just became not viable for
Yeah,
people to
yeah.
go there, I guess.
And then Jersey Mike's
Jersey Mike's is
stepped
pretty
in
great.
and they were like, we're going to do it now.
They're good.
We're gonna-
They're not as
you know,
good. but
We're
they're
going to
good.
cut our meat fresh.
Listen, when it comes to Sandy Boys, some Sandos, if you will, part of my trip, my family trip up to Maine, it's become a tradition now, either on the way up or on the way home, usually on the way home. We get Moe's subs.
Oh, okay. I was like, Moe's Southwest Grill, of course. The
No,
franchise.
no,
This
these are
is something
submarine
different.
sandwich.
Yeah.
It's basically an Italian, right?
Yeah.
Also, if you did go to Moe's like burrito stupid
that's weird.
thing as your thing, I would slap you in the face.
Yeah. Have you tried the corn salsa? Right. But no, it's a thing from my childhood. Like there was Moe's. There was like maybe 2 sandwich shops.
Okay.
So this is an independent shop.
Yeah. And so Moe's was like on the corner in downtown Portsmouth, and like you would get a Moe's Italian sub, and
Right.
you'd eat it because in Maine Italians are a thing. I mean, most places, but it's
Yeah.
like a weird specific kind of Maine Italian.
Now,
Anyway.
has it always been called Moe's, or was it named after a clown and then they had to change it at some point?
No, it's always been Moe's.
Okay.
It was actually Curly Moe and Larry's.
It's funny because we don't know what it was before, but the M is sideways. And it looks like a ZO.
Yeah,
It's
really weird.
Painted over.
But no, Moe's is like it's like a really a throwback for me.
Yeah.
And this is gonna sound weird. Like this, it's so popular in southern Maine and in that part of New Hampshire that like gas stations all over the place.
We'll carry them.
They have pre-made Moe's.
Oh, okay.
In their coolers,
Right.
and people can get them that way.
That's awesome.
And they opened a whole bunch of different stores and stuff like that. But it's so fun that the gas station that I always used to go to, like all the time,
Right.
late at night. It was near where I worked, all that stuff.
Where you get your rib sandwiches.
Sure. That gas station used to have the pre-made Moe's.
Right.
And a few trips back, I was like, oh, maybe they have a pre-made Moe's for Finn because he's getting hungry. It's getting close to dinner time. I walk in. They have a Moe's counter now.
Wow.
And they make the sandwiches fresh.
Nice.
And I'm so pumped about that. That has become our thing. So I had Moe's on the way home.
Nice.
Like that to me is like that's that Italian sandwich. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
that's a fun traditional thing.
the
so I
chain
think
sandwich-
that should be Subway.
The
from now on.
chain sandwich places cannot compete with the independent sandwiches places.
Yeah, 'cause they're
The-
fucking
the
great.
independent places are going to be awesome. There's Riccati's in Bristol is like one of the ones that I love.
Yep.
Or even the Sandwich Hut
In Providence,
Providence
yeah.
is. I don't know if you like olive tapenade, but it's killer. Anyway, but Quiznos we used to go to all the time, so we
Yeah,
had
yeah.
a great Quiznos, and it's funny because the two women that worked there, I've gone there twice. I discovered it like maybe a month ago. I knew Brad was going to be so psyched, so it was very hard to keep it from him for the past month.
You smell like toasted sandwiches.
It
Smells like rosemary parm.
farm bread.
That scent brings back a memory, but I can't remember what. And just punching me in the nose.
You smell like a toasted, very plain sandwich.
I have ham and Swiss.
Hold the Swiss.
Half toasted.
So pull it out, pull it out. He's reaching in.
Is there any way you could steam it?
Toasting adds too much flavor.
Yeah.
I'd like it soft.
Too much carbon.
But it was so good. Those sandwiches were so fucking
was great.
awesome.
That's
And-
great.
And we, it took us a while to get home, but
Yeah. Oh, did it?
well, great.
Did it take you a
But here's what
while
I'll
to get
say.
home?
The Funbearable trip,
Yes.
very fruitful.
Yeah.
Very productive. Great time. The audience
Dude,
was killer.
it was
great
great.
podcast episodes. It was great.
7 out of 10 for sure.
7.
Yeah, I have a very. It's hard. It's a hard series of
That's not what he's
numbers.
talking about. Yeah, well, you skipped the Wrestlemania parties. I forgot.
Yeah, that would have dropped it.
No, you wouldn't have.
Not those beef sandwiches.
Hey.
But good food and everything.
But
That was
Quiznos
good.
a shame.
Yeah.
You know?
I was goofing
Yeah.
about the
You
7
still-
out
you
of 10.
still-
I think it was a 9
Yeah.
out of 10. It was a low 9 out of 10.
Yeah, that's fine.
9.3.
No, low.
That is low.
Fine, 8.9 out
That
of
hurts
10.
me.
Round up.
But
By
it
the
was
way-
good. I just want to make room for us to grow and improve.
Yes.
If
Well,
we
you know,
say it's 10 out
ma-
of 10, we'll never get any
Maybe
better.
if you had gotten that apple crisp, that bumps it up a little bit.
But I think
Good fucking point.
I think we should, I don't want to be egotistical, but I think we should kind of just recognize we just did have a lot to do that wasn't just the same thing for
Right.
all those days. We had a lot of weird stuff to be like, in
Yeah.
this case, we're going to be this and this. And we really handled all that stuff pretty well. And I'm really happy that we did
I agree,
that.
yeah, especially with the episode that we aren't releasing
Yeah,
because of
Yeah.
what happened.
Well,
Yeah.
we said we're going to be the most offensive podcast known to man. And I think we did a great job.
That's true.
But now we're having second
Right.
thoughts about.
Well, the guest was a little much. I don't want to say who it was because that's inappropriate.
Yeah.
And we did, in fairness, give them room to give their side of the argument.
Right.
right.
I don't think we should have.
I'm going to do the translating on this one.
It's weird because like it was clear that he won you over.
Yeah.
Right away. And then things got weird, so we're not releasing that episode. But I
Right.
think we handled it well.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
It was but so many good goofs.
Yeah.
Right,
out of
a
that
lot
episode.
of goofs, and
Lot
I
of
think it was
goofs.
smart to have Brad talk to the police.
Yes.
And not either one of us.
Yes.
Well, you couldn't.
I was
Talk
too
to the
busy
police.
sucking someone's tongue. But
so-
big thanks to Jennifer Kaminsky. She helped a lot with the show. She
Yes.
helped a lot with the WrestleMania party, and she cohabitated with us for 2 days as well in the
that's right.
apartment.
That's right,
She slept
yeah.
in the couch while you were there.
Yeah.
But good stuff all around, and we all got home safe. And as I got home on Monday night, I'm like, I'm glad Ray's on his cruise. He's going to be back in a few short days, and he's safe at sea.
Yeah.
Now, Ray, where does your story diverge at 5 a.m. on Sunday?
So, smash cut. Back to Newark, New Jersey.
So I flew out to Florida.
Yeah.
And went through the process of getting on the boat. Every time they dropped me at the security entrance for crew
Right.
to get on the boat, where there's no line
Mm-hmm. Right.
and it's just a person at a table, and I could just walk on the boat.
Nice.
Right.
And every time they look at the sheet and they go, "No, you're in the regular passenger side," and I have to go through the whole process of doing that. Anyway, I get on the boat. I find out that I'm not performing that night, which is a fucking beautiful thing.
Right,
Yeah.
because you've been up since 3:30 a.m.
Right.
Yeah.
And the last ship I did, I got up at 2:30 in the morning, flew out to LA, got on a
Yes.
boat,
Right.
it had the time difference and did 2 shows that night, and I was more exhausted than I've ever been doing
Yeah.
a show. But anyway, I found out at no show that night.
I thought that being tired was your spinach. You're the Popeye, and being tired is your
No,
spinach.
like I'll say it on stage because it's part of the thing, and I am generally just tired all the time anyway.
Yeah.
Probably due to anxiety and partly having a small boy before.
Right.
But still just sort of tired, right?
Yeah.
And it became part of the thing, for me to say it. And but this was different. This
Oh,
was
yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to do stand up right
Yeah.
now. I want to go lay down.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucked. It sucked having to do it. But anyway, so this time I was thrilled. No show then. I had 2 shows in the main theater the next night, 3 shows in the lounge the night after that. Usually it's only 2. It was like, ooh, they're doing 3.
Yeah.
The shows went well. Everything
Good.
was fun. I had a good time, a good experience. It was positive. People liked the shows a lot. That
Nice.
was good. It's still weird doing cruise ships. It's still weird. There was so many kids, and that was uncomfortable.
in the shows?
Yeah.
Oh, and there was a kid at our show, too, and in
Right.
Smodcastle, too.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Wild.
Crazy.
Wild.
That was crazy because
Yeah.
that one was even weirder because that's a family electing to do that. At least on a cruise ship, it's a
The
family
kids
that
are
has
already there.
kids.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, exactly.
Wow. So what do? You just go like, hey, you brought your kid
I'm
to
like,
a comedy
yeah, look,
show.
there's kids here. I mean, granted, I have to stay cruise clean.
Right.
But at
Yeah.
the same time, it's like, guys, they're not going to like this.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
This isn't for them.
Right.
And now everyone in the room is aware there are children here.
Yeah.
So whatever direction I go in, everyone's going to be tighter.
Right. Yes.
Everyone's going to be less loose because the kids are fucking here.
Yes.
The show that was the most fun was the last show of the second night.
Right.
It was a later show. There were no children. And it was just it was a blast.
I find when there are kids in an audience and I'm doing a show, I'm like, well, let me relate to them and do like nursery rhymes, but let me appeal to the parents and make them dirty.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I
no.
just it's a bit I do. It's called Dirty Nursery Rhymes. Yeah. So a lot of success.
It's really good.
Yeah, but the shows were fun. They were good. The entertainment director was a wonderful guy. Martin, had a lot of fun with him. Made a buddy, an Australian fella who was a naval officer guy. He was not officer guy, but he's retired now.
Okay.
But he's like a 50-something tough as fuck Aussie.
Oh, all
Right?
right. So like me in 5 years, but Australian.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But like just a tough as fuck Aussie, and you could tell like this guy probably did some shit in the Navy, right?
Yep.
Like he
Yep.
had to do some shit, but he's just the most like calm guy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Australian Steve, and like he's just dropping bits of wisdom throughout the trip. I'd see him somewhere, we'd start chatting,
Right.
and I was like, oh, I didn't go out to Grand Turk. I kind of regret it. I was kind of just pissed about something that had happened. I'll get to in a minute. And he's just like, you got to fucking do it, mate.
He's like, you can't have your Vegemite and eat it too. And you're like, oh my God.
No, but he was just like, whenever you come across a moment where you think you could even remotely regret not doing a thing, you fucking do it. Right. And he's
Yeah.
getting into it. And
I
I'm
like that.
Yeah. But it was really fun to just meet this guy with like a really Zen attitude. You
Right.
know what I mean? I liked him a lot. So it was nice to meet him. Very fun thing happened on the boat that I wanted to tell you guys about. So I did the 2 shows in the theater.
Right.
Second show, I do that. Everything goes great. I go out into like a smoking lounge place
Right.
near the theater called Churchill's Lounge. You can get a cigar or whatever, and they let you smoke in there. And I'm having a cigarette in there, and that's when I meet Steve. We're
Right.
having a conversation. A couple other people join the conversation, and there's a guy who is trashed.
Right.
Very drunk. Very drunk, stumbling around, talking to everybody, loud. He comes over, he hears Steve talk. He's like, oh, you're a Kiwi? You're a Kiwi from New Zealand? You're a Kiwi guy? And he's like, no, I'm fucking Australian, mate. I'm not a Kiwi, right? Conversation continues, and then he's like, well, because you're a Kiwi. You're a Kiwi, And this is before I knew how zen and peaceful
Right.
Steve was. I was just looking at a big, fucking tough Aussie guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Bald head, fucking tattoos, like, I'll fuck you up. And he just turns and he's like, I'm not a fucking Kiwi, mate. We've been over this. And I'm like, but I realized very soon, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, there's no problem here. He's
Right.
very patient.
Yeah.
So the
How
guy,
derogatory is Kiwi?
it's not, but that's somebody from New Zealand.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah, so I could see somebody
Do
getting
you think
pissed off.
Australian Steve is a fun bear?
I hope he is by now. Steve, if you're watching this, buddy, best of luck. I hope to see you on another cruise. I guess that sounds weird.
Yeah.
And also, maybe I can call you sometimes and you can just tell me to man the fuck up. I think that's necessary.
Yeah,
He told
that'd
me
be good.
that a couple of times in
Yeah.
a positive way.
Okay.
Really?
I'm starting to realize I think I made Steve my dad on the boat.
Oh, you
Did he tell you to
absolutely
man- did
made
he-
Steve
did he
your
tell you to
dad.
man
I
up?
made, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I was talking to him and I said I felt bad for not being home with my wife and my son. And I was missing my son and you know, I feel really bad that I'm not there. And he's like, well, you know, I understand, but you know, the phrase man the fuck up comes to mind, but I understand. You know, and he's saying his thing, but it was more like
Did you say like Chuck and Brad had this cool ride home and they went to Quiznos and I didn't get to do that either?
no.
Because you didn't tell him.
I told him about the two of you. He now thinks I have 3 children. He thinks there's Finn, Brad, and Chuck.
Yeah.
Right? And one of the boys should be definitely sent to an orphanage. I don't want to say who. I won't say who. Yeah. But no, he was really positive about it. He's like, stop bitching about this. Go out and do these things.
Right.
Don't feel bad. Because I was saying I didn't go out on Grand Turk, you know, for an issue.
Right.
But also I felt bad because like my wife and my son aren't here. It makes me
Right.
feel bad. Oh, I did all these fun things.
Right.
Right.
And he's like, oh, man the fuck up, that kind of thing. And he's like, don't think of it as you selfishly doing this. You're doing research
Yeah.
for a family vacation you can take. You're checking it out. You know, I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, all right, fine. You know,
Well, you're also earning for your family as well. You're
yeah,
earning money.
exactly. I'm working in the coal mine. Whoop, I'm going to slip down. That was a song.
Yes.
I made the sound and I committed to it. And
Good
I
job.
regret it. Thank you.
Yeah.
No regrets.
Ah, yeah. What would
now
Australian
you're learning from
Steve
that
say?
Kiwi.
He met
Yeah.
Chuck, though, and he said, have a couple of
One
regrets.
was one major regret.
He starts carving up his no regrets tattoo.
He's like, out of date, mate. Right? But anyway, you know, having a lovely time. And the drunk guy is going on and on.
Right.
And finally, Steve's like, did you see the comedy show? And the guy's like, yeah, I saw the comedy show. This is a good time. And he stops and he looks at me, the drunk guy, and he's like, you look like the comedian. Right? And I go, oh, do I? Right? And I'm just joking around. I'll
Right.
play it off. Because anytime on the ship, like somebody will be like, hey, it's the comedian. And I'll go, oh, where? Right? Like
Yeah.
stuff like, are you
Yeah.
the comedian? No. And
Yeah.
walk away.
Yeah.
Right? And so he is saying I look like the comedian. I'm like, no, I didn't see the show.
Yeah.
And he's like, you didn't see the comedy show? I'm like, no, I missed it. I was busy at the time.
Yep.
And meanwhile, it's making like Steve chuckle and the other
Yeah.
guys. They're losing their shit because they know what's up. Right? They were at the show. They saw everything. And so he says, he's like, you look just like, you got the same build. You got the beard. You look just like the comedian. And that's when Steve looks right at me and asks the drunk guy, he's like, what'd you think of the show? And he's grinning.
Yeah.
Loaded question.
Oh, beautiful.
This guy could make me feel like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am undercover.
Yeah.
I'm undercover boss at this moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And thankfully, the guy's like, oh, it's a great show. He's really good. He's doing stuff with the crowd. You could tell he's quick on his feet. You know, and I was like, I hate crowd work. Right? You know, just fucking with the guy.
Yeah.
He never
caught into it.
Never clicked. Yeah, never caught into it. And it got to a point where this drunk man spent 10 minutes describing my own set back to me.
Yeah.
And so the next night I had 3 shows, did those 3 shows,
Yep.
started every one of them telling the story of this drunk guy.
Right.
Cut to that night,
Yep.
back in the lounge.
Yep.
Just as drunk as the night before.
Perfect.
He comes in and he's
Yep.
like, I heard you were telling everybody about what happened, right?
That's killer.
It was so funny, and he was thrilled with it.
Yeah,
Right?
of course.
He couldn't be happier.
Right.
that,
That's
that he
killer.
was like the little drunk mascot.
Yeah.
But it was such a fun moment.
Yeah.
Like it was really good. Like the last ship I was on, 7 days on there, I was miserable and so lonely. And on this trip, it's like that made such a big difference of like connecting with this guy, this cool guy with a good outlook on life who's
Wait,
seen a lot of the
Australian
world.
Steve or the drunk guy?
Yeah, Australian Steve, drunk guy. I'm all set.
Yeah.
And then also Martin, the entertainment director, and just talking comedy with him and things like that. It was good. It made it go by so fast, which was important because I went to Staten Island with you.
Yep.
We all stayed together. We did our thing.
Yep.
And then I was going to fly out and I was going to be on the boat for a few days and we would get to Jamaica and I would get off the boat in Jamaica and fly home.
That was on. So you had left Rhode Island on Wednesday night.
Yep.
Yep.
You got in the boat on Sunday at 5 a.m.
Correct.
and you were going to head home from Jamaica the following Thursday.
Right.
Thursday. Yes, Thursday.
So 8 total days away from home.
Right. Not a big deal.
No.
So Jamaica Day rolls around.
I love Jamaica Day.
Jamaica Day.
It's a great, the Puerto Rican Day Parade is good. Jamaica Day, that's
Yeah.
the
It's
Some
day.
beef patties.
Adrian
But
Brody is
every
not
year-
allowed to
No.
recognize it anymore.
Every year, people get madder and madder at how I dress. And I'm like, it's Jamaica Day.
Yeah. And I heard that a lot of them, they sell jerk chicken, which is Jamaican, it's a famous Jamaican
Right.
dish. And they started calling it chuck chicken.
Yeah,
It's
very.
really weird. They don't like it.
You know what? I'm honored.
Listen, you love Jamaica Day. Jamaica Day does not love you. But no, so I'm supposed to get off the boat. Because I'm getting off and leaving, I have to go through different customs and stuff before I can leave the boat. So I have to be up and ready at 5 a.m.
Perfect.
So I am up, showered, I packed, I have my suitcase in my backpack, and
Let me
I'm
ask
all
a question.
bleary-eyed.
Are you psyched to be like back in your own bed?
I can't fucking wait. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
So many nights away from his bed.
Yeah.
He's gonna go home to his warm bed,
My warm wife,
see his wife,
my warm boy,
see his son.
my warm dog,
He can't-
my warm home,
Can't wait to get home.
all my temperate things. So
Jamaica, known as being freezing and
Frigid.
having
Frigid.
no warm wife.
frigid mon. Okay. So I'm standing there. I'm bleary eyed, but I'm ready to go. Right. And I see the admin director walking up to me in his uniform, his Navy-ish uniform. Right. Walking up, shaking his head. No. And I'm like,
No, I can't
don't-
wait either.
I know.
I can't-
Yeah. He said,
I
man, I
can't."
can't wait to get off of this boat. Right? And so right? I just can't wait. So he comes up and he informs me at 5 a.m. He's like, people are going to find this out in about 2 hours, but we're not going to Jamaica. I'm like, okay. And he's like, it's too windy. So the seas were not rough that
Right.
day, my friends. It was too windy. And because the port is very narrow and small, the boat, the crosswind of the hitting the boat is like the boat is just a big giant sail.
Yeah.
So they couldn't do it, right?
Right.
I'm already like, I go from 0, I can't wait to leave, to internally 10, fuck this,
Yeah.
burn this whole fucking boat down,
Right.
fuck you, shoot me out of a fucking cannon to
Right.
the shore. I want to go home.
Yeah.
But I'm being professional. I'm
Sure.
like, okay, sure. Just kind of tapping the handles
Mm-hmm.
of my suitcase. And he's like, we'll try and get you out at Grand Turk, but it's such a small island. There's not a lot of flights that leave. I'm like, so when do you think I'll go home?
Right.
And he's like, I think you're on the boat until we get back to Florida on Sunday.
Mm.
And I'm like, yeah, all right. And I take my suitcase and my backpack
Throw him overboard.
back to my fucking cabin.
Were you livid?
I was furious.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Because everybody else starts complaining because they don't get to go on the shore excursions to
Right.
Jamaica. So I'm hearing all of these fucking people going, it's the whole reason I did this cruise was to go to Jamaica. And I took pleasure in being the Debbie Downer in those moments and one-upping their problem. I really enjoyed when people are like, this is the whole reason we were going was to go to Jamaica. And I'd
Yeah.
be like, yeah, I was supposed to go home today.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you know what I mean? So
Right.
it really sucked. I cooled down after a while.
Right.
thankfully, like I said, the atmosphere on this ship, I was on there for 7 days, and it felt like it felt shorter than my 4-day one that I did. Like it was good. It was fine.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to fucking be there.
Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to be home. I had stuff to do. I had to cancel stuff. So I ended up getting home on Sunday at like 6:30 at night.
Yeah.
And then at 10 a.m. the next day on Monday, my wife and my son and we leave for a week-long vacation to Maine.
Yeah.
And I remember getting home like, I don't want to leave. I looked at my suitcase. I'm like, I don't unpack.
Yep.
I know.
I just take the dirty stuff out. I put clean stuff in, and I keep living out of this suitcase.
Right.
Right.
I
It was
know.
crazy, but it was a good positive experience.
Yes.
Yes.
Had I known
Right.
that I was going to be there for a week, right?
Right.
That turned into like, I guess I'm doing laundry, right?
Yeah.
I have to do laundry. I'm out of like medication that I brought with me.
The idea of laundry, you have a fishing pole and your underpants on the end, and you just throw it down into the ocean. You're like,
I will say this: these two ladies that were on the boat, like late 20s, early 30s, they overheard me asking for laundry tokens from the customer service desk.
right.
And they're like, "We get free laundry because they lost our luggage." Right?
Wow.
And I'm like, Jesus. And they're like, so anytime you want laundry. And they told me their room number, and they're like, come by, we'll do your laundry.
Whoa!
And they're like,
we'll do your laundry, Ray.
there was a lean in on we'll do your laundry. And I'm like, oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Just give me the tokens. I need to leave. It was, I didn't like it. I liked it. It stroked the ego a little bit,
Right.
but it was a little, I didn't care for it. Chuck is fuming right now.
I
could
just-
see it in your face.
No.
I just think those women wanted to help.
I think those women actually were they were interested in me and not you.
I can't think of a time on this podcast where I ever talked about me and anybody, and Ray didn't cut it down and make me some, helmet wearing invalid.
No.
But I'm going to leave
What?
this here.
Helmet wearing invalid.
Yeah.
No, if anything, I paint you as like going after a lot.
Yes.
That's not a helmet wearing invalid.
Why would an invalid need to wear a helmet?
in case he hits his head.
Yeah, but how's he going to hit his head?
Actually, you know who called
He
me?
could fall out of bed.
You know who made that comment? Walt on the Psychic Trivia episode.
Yes, he did.
I didn't
Oh.
even realize it until I rewatched it yesterday.
So it's not me. No, but what were you going to say? Go ahead.
No,
it's
I'm not,
fine.
I don't have anything.
Oh, all right. No, I'm just mad at you. I'm just pissed off at you.
How am I supposed to live vicariously through you?
I just blame you for what Walt said.
I think that, well, first of all, no, you always do that. If I ever said a girl was interested in me, you would find a, Brad, what do you think? Would you find a left turn and make it how she's not and I'm wrong?
I think he'd find a left turn. I don't know that it would be that you're wrong. I think it would be that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You'd find a left turn where the girl's still interested in me?
Yeah, well, you know,
well,
maybe she's confused.
That's exactly right.
But no, here's the issue though. Like that situation doesn't come up because the left turns that I make are you
Wearing a
talking
helmet.
about being attracted to a woman or talking about like how hot this woman is or this situation that came up.
Yeah.
That's when I'll make a joke. I make the joke about you being essentially, if we're going to strip comedy all the way down to its barest bones, how fucking boring.
Let's poke that dead frog.
The joke is that you are a horn dog, that you are a pussy
please.
hound chaser.
No one would ever say that about
and a
me.
little bit of an and a little bit of a egomaniac, just a little bit of an egomaniac. And so the joke is there. The joke isn't that like no woman would be attracted. Then the other stuff that I make jokes about wouldn't work. You know what I mean?
I think it would.
No, I think that's your own insecurity coming out. I don't do that.
Oh,
So
please.
listen, if you're going to lock me up for a crime I commit, Your Honor. All right?
I think
This took a turn. We were on the boat, and now we're talking about Chuck's personality. How did this happen?
Chuck is a horn dog. I guess I've never really seen it before, but yeah, the signs are there if I look for it.
Yeah, this is the end of fucking Usual Suspects. Like, and it's pointing at like a Polaroid of Chuck miming eating his teacher's ass.
You
It
always
cuts to.
You
It
always
cuts.
turn it into her ass. I don't know where that came from.
You said it.
it's the only angle I had.
And so, therefore, what I said was correct. Then it cuts to a shot of you like sexualizing someone that shouldn't be sexualized. Then it cuts
Dalai
to
Lama.
But it's like it's stuff like that, and now you're just like, how dare you?
There's no how dare you.
Then it cuts to like a
I
restraining order.
I hope they were so hot and they were gonna both, give you the rusty trombone and whatever you think they were gonna do.
No, but this is the issue. This is the psychological thing, and this should all be on the cutting room floor. The psychological issue is I said one tiny thing of these two girls said this thing that was clearly like, yeah, come on over to our room or whatever. I'm not saying they were going to have sex with me or wanted to or anything. To me, it felt like we're two young girls and we are saying, come over because you're the comedian and we want your time just like everybody else on that boat wanted my time, right? And you internalize that as me even saying a woman was interested in me is you being like, oh, they wanted to suck and fuck and eat your butt and do all these things. You just did. You
said
did.
Chuck is sitting over there fuming, so I had to respond to that. You're the one that said it.
No, but you just said exactly what I was quoting back.
Trying to get a button on this thing.
Yeah, there is no button here, buddy. It's just weird.
There is no button here. Is me trying to go down on a woman and just being very confused.
There is no button
here, buddy.
Yeah.
What do I do with this?
I like buddy.
I read so many diagrams. Yes. No, but yeah, we can cut all of this if you want. It just it doesn't matter. It's kind of irrelevant.
So you did laundry with these women,
Right.
No,
he didn't. He had his own luggage.
Yeah.
I did my own laundry.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
The fishing pole.
I did my own laundry.
The hearts on boxers.
The positive of all of it was that the dryer sheets on the boat smell great, and my clothes smelled very nice.
Good.
And that was good.
Yep.
And then I waited those days. And
Yeah.
then I
How
went
did you
home.
occupy your time on the days that you?
Well, I don't
were
know if you made
performing?
it clear to the audience that you don't really have functional internet even on the
None.
boat.
Oh,
None.
all right. So no.
I don't know if people
There's
understand
Wi-Fi.
that. You can check an email.
There is Wi-Fi enough to check an email, send an email. If you have patience, you can go and like check a thing for your flight on a flight app.
Yep.
But like it's so slow, you can't go on Amazon and be like, "Oh, let me buy this thing really quickly."
Exactly, yeah.
You can't.
Okay.
It'll just take way too long. You can't do it. You can look at Twitter.
Right.
But no pictures will load, no videos will happen,
Okay.
just text.
Yeah.
It's that kind of
So
thing.
you can't really be productive.
I can't be productive at all. And I also don't have access to anything that I don't bring with me.
Right.
In terms of like watching a
Movies,
movie or a
TV
TV show
yeah.
or anything like that. So really it is just a lot of like, I watched a couple of movies that I hadn't seen that
Right.
were on the movie service that's on the boat. Most of your day is just like, I get up, take a shower in the shower that is too tiny. And by
Yes.
the end of the week, I'm mad at this shower.
Of course.
And I can't, like, dude, I came home and took a shower, and I was in the shower, the first shower I took when I got home, and I was just like, in the shower, I went, there's so much room. Like, I stuck my arms out. I was so happy with it. And then I go out into the boat.
Right.
I usually grab a coffee.
Right.
From the coffee place.
Put some pork roll in there.
It's never good coffee.
Oh, okay.
And then I go to the back of the boat where there's a little side thing that not everybody knows about that is
Right.
smoking.
Okay.
And I will have a cigarette there.
Yep.
And then I go have breakfast / lunch at the buffet thing.
Yep.
People are all, hey, Ray, come sit over here, stuff like that.
Right.
And then I like read a comic book for a while to try and stay out of my cabin.
Okay.
I don't want to go back to my cabin.
Yeah.
Eventually I'm like, I got to go back to my cabin.
Yeah.
And then I have to go through a series of things to get to it. I do that.
Like you have to answer a riddle
Basically.
from
yeah.
one of two
yeah,
brothers.
I have to go outside of the boat, do a whole thing. It's a
swim
whole
underneath.
Yeah.
Climb an anchor.
God, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
There's a
Defuse
broken
bomb.
bridge like Uncharted.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You got to swing across.
You know, there's
Yeah.
a
yellow painted rocks that I have to climb.
there's a door with a green lock, and you're like, oh, where did I see that green key?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my God, it's a whole thing. It really is. It's a pain in the ass. My backpack's so full of shit by the end of it.
It's a rocket launcher sticking
Yeah.
out. Of it.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
All right, get a spreadsheet going.
Yeah. I pick up I
grenades.
pick up all the things even though like I don't need it. I
Yeah.
know I don't need
It's a
it.
collectible. We remember
But
our
it doesn't
trip.
count towards my weight, so who cares,
Right.
right? Like that. But yeah, no, and then just kind of kick around. Like you literally are just killing time. I am human cargo after I do the shows.
I think that's the hardest part.
It is. It is the hardest part to know I'm just killing time and to know that in this period of time of having to stay there, I was supposed to be at home.
Yeah.
Made it far more difficult to go through because, previously it's like, well, I'm on the boat for this period of time.
Yep.
That's what I have. It's been carved out as that. This time it was like, I was on this trip for the podcast, doing all that shit,
Yep.
staying at another person's house as welcoming and gracious as you were.
You're not in your own bed.
You had, you had your hospitality was wonderful. It's not my place.
I know. I know.
And then being on the boat and then knowing
I know.
I was going to have to go home and immediately go over to just vacation mode.
Yeah.
I know.
Meanwhile, work is piling up.
Right.
Of course.
Through all of it through those 3 weeks. So
And it's
yeah,
funny,
that was my time.
It's funny as your friend to be like, I'm like, I want to reach out to him and let him know. I'm like, sorry you're on the boat, man. How are you doing? But at the same time, I'm like, do I want to keep sending him that? Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Because we
yeah.
talked a bunch of times when you were
Yeah.
on the boat.
The dick pics were weird.
Well, you told me they
that's-
wouldn't load, and I was
that's-
like,
I said they won't load.
The reason-
and then you started describing
I
them.
was like, I guess if you wanted to text,
Yeah,
me,
like
try to-
it's like a blind service.
I wasn't describing them as much as I was like taking the symbols and trying to draw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, then he's like, Brad, could you please draw this? Yeah. My penis Bradley drawn. And I'm like,
yeah.
I thought it was weird that you did an etching.
yes.
Yeah.
You put the paper against it and then you did a rubbing.
We're
like
gonna,
you were at the
we're
Vietnam
gonna do
War.
a press.
hurry,
We're gonna do a pressing. I'm like, that's weird. This paper, whatever. It's gonna be a jizz joke. I didn't get that.
We haven't had one in like 2
know,
episodes. That's wild.
Sorry.
Yeah, throw it out there.
No, it's gone.
Raise up the jizz quotient.
buddy. Come on, I'll give you one. Paper mache. That's
fine.
great. So you were gone for roughly
Like 11 days.
No.
no, it
To
was more
12
because then he went
'cause
for
then I
5.
left.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I hit I was in
18.
my third week.
Yeah, 18,
Yeah,
19-ish days.
I was in the third week. I can't remember what day it was, but I was in Bangor,
Yeah.
Maine, and
Yeah.
I said to Kalina, I'm like, this is now the third week
Yeah.
that I've been gone.
Yep.
And it's just, and what sucks is like this week, I'm like, yeah, I'm back, but I have to do so much catch up
Yeah.
because basically a month went by.
Yeah.
You know
I
what I
know.
mean?
Yes,
It's
I know.
wild. It's really wild. My OnlyFans, I'm so behind on my OnlyFans.
We understand though.
I know.
We're all right.
I do appreciate.
know
I
it's-
know you guys are like
it's worth
top
the wait.
donors, but
I stopped for a month. I'm holding it back.
see,
Next month-
I knew it. I knew this would happen. Yeah. You're harsh. You're harsh, but I appreciate it because I think that represents a lot of the fandom on my OnlyFans.
Yes.
So I had to throw out a lot of the foods that I was going to step on for my OnlyFans.
Yeah.
I do a foot thing. Do you know? There's most of my OnlyFans. They don't even know that I'm a guy.
No, they
They
don't.
just think I'm a lady with fucked up feet.
Yeah, they love it. But yeah,
That's so dumb. That's so dumb. I think if we get big enough, we shouldn't do a Patreon. We should do an OnlyFans.
yeah, me too.
You know, but it's not dirty filth.
Right.
It's just normal
Yeah, let's
stuff.
bring some respectability to the OnlyFans name.
Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah,
Just maybe we get some confused lonely men as well.
Yeah.
yeah,
Then we put out straight up hardcore porn on Patreon.
yeah. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Flip it.
Just make, yeah. I think one of the things we want to do as comedians is defy expectation.
Exactly.
And,
And
so,
defile expectations.
and we're going to do both. We're going to do both. One on Patreon, one on OnlyFans.
Yeah,
That's great.
I want the expectations to get downright forensic.
Yes.
I want blacklight on expectations. This has gone on long enough.
It has.
So I'm going to reach out to the both of you and say it was lovely to hang out with you guys for that period of time.
Yes.
And it was also, I missed you.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be back.
We're glad to
And
have
I'm
you
happy
back.
that we're making more pod. We're
Yes.
casting
Yes.
that pod.
Yes, and I think just a very fruitful trip, a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah.
and I was glad that you got to be friends with Casey Jost. I'm glad all of us got to kind of.
Oh, you didn't hear?
Oh boy.
We had a big falling out.
Oh boy.
Big falling out.
You made your Joseph the least comment, didn't you?
Yeah.
Casey Jost was the drunk guy, that Australian Steve.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
fucking Kiwi.
No, shit got weird and I had to make a choice.
Yes.
So I sided with Joe Gatto. And I have left the friendship. That's all I will say.
So I will say, I mean, I don't know if this is pulling back the curtain a little bit too much.
There is no curtain. This is curtain free.
It was just it's on the way back. Brad and I were driving back, and Walt from Tell 'em Steve-Dave sent me a bunch of texts about Brad and Ray that were just very positive
that's
and
nice.
very supportive. And he's like, "Oh, you got a really good crew over there."
Yeah.
And it's weird for some reason, for me anyway. Walt is like a creative dad. I don't know why, but he's always been like that to me, where it's like I hold his opinion very high, and it's cool to see the worlds actually like merging a little bit. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah,
It was already nice of Walt and Gitem to be like, yeah, sure, we'll be on again already. The first repeat guest on Funbearable. And then on top of that, it was nice for Walt to be like, yeah, have 2 parties at the studio this weekend.
Yeah.
Like, and then to on top of that to text and be like, hey, I'm excited for that to come out. Like, Brad's super funny, Ray's super funny. That's just really nice.
I saw those texts as they came in, and I'm like, I know that if I were to scroll up in Chuck's text messaging app of choice, that I would see Chuck saying, hey, could you send some really nice text tomorrow? We'll be driving at such and such a time.
Yeah.
And Walt's like, oh, are you going to pay me for it?
Yeah.
And Chuck's like,
So Chuck writes
Venmos.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just copy paste these.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's lovely.
Insert name here was really funny.
I think it's lovely that your creative daddy
Yes.
could meet your creative zaddies.
Yeah. I think so too.
We're the zaddies.
Yeah.
He's your daddy.
Yes.
There you go.
And so we're going to close today's episode with some footage from the live show
Right.
in New Jersey.
That's
that we
right,
did
yeah.
on March 31st?
Yes, it was.
And please don't get this mistaken. Please don't mix up the footage and put out some of my OnlyFans content. I'm stepping on so many things.
Yes.
There is one that I know you're a fan of. I stepped on a Quiznos sub.
I just hadn't
And it was
seen
crunchy
Quiznos
'cause it
in
was
I
toasted.
heard him go, toasty.
yeah.
Toasty. But yeah, let's go to this live show footage. We're not sure exactly what we're going to show.
Yeah.
But this will give you a little taste of what the live show was. Very fun. Thank everyone for coming out and supporting that Funbearable live show. Hopefully we have some new stuff to announce soon for some live stuff in the area.
Yeah.
And we're going to figure that out.
And of course, reach out to us on our socials, Funbearable Pod on pretty much everything.
Yep.
And you can reach out to us on funbearablepod@gmail.com. You can send us an email. Let us know how you feel about various hams, Taylor or otherwise.
Yes.
Rolls of pork or other.
Yep.
And if you have access to pork roll, I think this is important. Send us some pork roll.
Tell us all about it.
Safely send it to us. Don't just mail us pork roll in a manila envelope.
No.
That's disgusting.
I've tried.
Very weird.
Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah.
You need some sort of refrigerated thing or a service. I know you're going to have to spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
Viewer listener.
But we're
you're going to
worth
spend that money. We are worth it.
Yeah.
And we will eat that pork roll, Taylor ham, however you want to say it, on the podcast. And we'll do
Or
it that way.
Ray will step on it.
That costs extra.
But I will step on it, but please go to...
I don't step until you pay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
No, I can't think of a money word that rhymes with squish.
Unless money's
I don't
talking.
squish unless you dish. Right? Hey.
Unless money's talking, Ray's not walking.
Ray ain't walking.
You gotta fork out if you want me to pork out.
All right, I think we've done enough
Yeah.
for Ray Harrington and Chuck Staten. I'm Brad Rohr saying thank you so much, and we're sorry for being Funbearable.
But stick around for some footage.
Yes.
But we're also sorry for that.
Yes.
But really, the money is coming in, and
that's-
it's
you're
it's
doing a
good.
lot of stepping,
Like,
yeah.
I told Kalina, I think Finn can go to like a B plus level college with the money.
Is she still crying every day because of this
Yeah,
thing?
absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'm ruining the food that she brings home.
I was going to cook that for Finn's dinner.
And I say, you can still cook it. My feet are clean.
It's just squished.
My feet
not
are
ruined.
clean. It's not ruined. It's just flat.
If you want my feet to be cleaner, you should be washing them.
Hello.
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing?
Hello.
Hello, 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 hello.
How is everybody doing tonight? How is it outside? Is it all right still? I think there's gonna be a storm.
Wait, you said that like there's gonna be like a blizzard.
Well, my windows are open. Can I just quickly run out there? Ladies and gentlemen, we want to bring someone out that's very special to us. A wonderful guy, a generous guy. Love that he's doing this. Give it up for Brian O'Halloran.
What's up? What's up? Look at this. Everybody having nothing to do on a Friday night. I love it. I love it. So first of all, I want to thank these guys coming all the way down from the smallest state, Rhode Island, everybody. Give a round of applause for them coming down to Rhode Island.
It's true.
I've worked with these cats before. Very funny crew. You guys are in for a treat. We did something like this. If not, I think we might have improved it since then. I don't know. I'm just hyping this off the tip of my tick.
Thank you.
So hopefully you guys should enjoy this. It's very kind of cool. And you'd be like, you guys should do a Mallrats one. And like all the requests are going to come after. You know, this would be fun like if you did Vulgar this way.
Yeah.
So
I already have some ideas.
That actually would be an interesting version of this. Thank you for having me. I look forward to having this kind of fun a little bit later.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like the fact that we brought in the nice, sexy mood lighting for this. Because the most important thing is going to be on the screen. It's not going to be us up front here. But as long as we can talk, you guys will be just fine. I see there's little ones in the audience. Some parents have a long conversation when they go home tonight.
Oh, yeah.
So just be aware there might be things said that you may be like, well, this is not quite Pokemon, but more like poking a man. Anyway, so I'll leave it up to you guys. Give it up to Chuck. All right. Ray. Yeah! Brad. And a big round of yourselves for yourselves. I also want to thank our film crew that are here tonight, and also Christian doing all the audio work. You know,
Give it up for Christian.
Yeah. All right, that's enough of me.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Brian.
buddy.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out, everybody. Have a great night.
Yes. Juices.
Yeah.
So I did want to ask, who here knows about our podcast, Funbearable?
Wow.
All right.
Okay, that's interesting. Who here does not know about our podcast, Funbearable?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Ah, I like
Those
that.
are my people.
Yes.
Half and half.
The smart
So
people.
we do a fun podcast called Funbearable. I wish I didn't say fun, but the three of us do a podcast, and we want to do live shows, but we don't really want to just do a podcast. So we kind of have these alternative ideas to play with things that we love, like Clerks, right?
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
So tonight, here's how it's going to go. We're going to open up with a little bit of an explanation of my relationship to Mr. Brad Rohr over
That's
there.
correct.
It's parasocial.
Yeah.
At best.
It's a parasitical is what it is.
And then Ray's going to come out and do stand-up. I love Mr. Ray. He's one of the funniest guys I know.
Ray is great at stand-up. Like, one of my favorite memories is when Chuck and I traveled to support Ray on Conan. When he
Yes,
did
that was
Conan
great.
just before everything shut down.
We went to L.A. to see Ray on Conan.
Surprised
Give it up
him.
for us traveling to see Ray.
We're great guys.
We're good guys.
We're good
friends.
guys. Yeah.
I didn't see you.
Oh, we were there.
We were there.
We were.
We didn't want to disturb you, so
Yeah.
we stayed,
Oh, thank
out of
you.
the
I do
light.
appreciate it.
Yeah, we were
the-
definitely there.
But I do want to say that this is a serious thing. I couldn't be doing a podcast with two funnier people. I love you guys. You're the funniest people I know.
Thanks.
And I appreciate
Thank you.
this.
It's because the other funny people said no.
Yeah.
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 But we're going to have a little fun up front. Ray's going to do some stand-up, and then we're going to headline with Clerks Bradley Drawn. Who's
Yes.
excited for Clerks Bradley Drawn? But yeah, so Ray, you're going to go do your warm-ups, right? Your stretches?
Yeah.
Ray's gonna
Yeah.
go.
Brian's gonna stretch my glutes.
Ray's gonna go get his puppets.
Yeah. All my props.
Yeah.
I gotta glue so many things to toilet seats. It's insane.
Yeah.
All
He's
right,
gonna
Ray.
get
We're going
your,
to see Ray in a little bit. Give it up for Ray.
Ray's gonna go get a mallet and some fruit. We should have warned the first couple rows.
Yes.
The end. Next, I think we have a final.
Thank you all so much for making me feel okay about my lack of artistic talent.
Give it up for Brad.
Yeah.
And give it up for Brian O'Halloran.
Brian O'Halloran!
And you know what? Let's bring Ray Harrington back up to the stage. Get him back up here. What's up,
Thank
buddy?
you, good sir.
So we did want to do a little Q&A. If anyone has any questions, we're happy to answer them. Funbearable, Brian O'Halloran, the star of Clerks 3, who killed it in Clerks 3. Give it up for him.
Yeah, that Oscar line at the end really fucking punched me in the gut, bro. Wow. Thanks for bringing up such an unpleasant topic. No, kidding. First of all, one of the first questions we can answer right away is no, there is no refunds.
That's good.
Secondly, what a fun time, right, guys? What normally some random gathering of friends in someone's living room when someone's high as fuck, we're like, yo, what if? And now here we are, people are paying for it. It's awesome. God bless America.
To be fair, that is what stand-up comedy is, though.
True. True.
So.
We actually put a little effort, or shall we say Brad put a little effort in having at least a pen that had some ink in it and some paper.
Well, I wish I had a special needs son that I could just have on stage with me. By the way, I think it was so fun to watch this show because there were two shows happening at the same time. There was the fun show that was prepared and produced and wonderfully performed and really enjoyed it. And then there was another show of just the idea of explaining the plot of Clerks to a child. It was fantastic, and it worked really well.
I think, Brad lets us do this pretty often. We've done a lot of Bradley drawn shows over the years.
You'd think he'd get better at it.
That's where it was going.
There was one drawing, the last one we did, and Chuck's like, I don't know if we could use this. It's too good. And I was like, yes. And then I showed him the next page, and he's like, no, we're okay.
Yeah, we're back on track. Man, yeah. So we want to thank you guys for all coming out tonight in New Jersey. We've never done a show here before, we did our Christmas show actually, but we haven't done a show in this area before. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. I think Ray, I was so happy to hear you kill it up here because I was like, this is a weird show. I think some people saw Clerks Bradley drawn and was like, I'm gonna go see some animated version of Clerks. Is that what people thought? Yeah. That's what and then we closed the door and went. Just started laughing like Satan. But that was awesome. And I really do want to say huge thanks to Brian O'Halloran.
Absolutely, yeah.
What's been great is I've known these cats. They do the Rhode Island Comic Con circuit as well as other Comic Cons. And so I met them up there a few years ago, and we did it up there like as part of a panel, as you would at a Comic Con. And it went really, really well. And they were like, oh, my God, we should do this more often. And I was like, okay, you thought that went well. All right, that's cool. Yeah, let me know anytime you want. And it took like 5 years later, but we're and a worldwide pandemic to subside for you to guys go, you remember that idea we had a couple of years ago? I'm like, yeah, let's do that again. So I'm glad they came all the way down from Rhode Island to do this, and where else to do it but a very safe neighborhood to bring up Clerk stuff. Yeah. There's probably like 4 people from the movie in the fucking audience probably. If not, they're cousins and relatives of somebody. So it's a good way where if you can't kill here, don't take this on the road.
That is how do you feel? I have a question for you.
Sure.
How do you feel? And this microphone is just it's set at the Ray level, I guess. How do you feel? Doing something that is so important to so many people, right? Like
Come on.
Truly, myself included. Like the first time I saw Clerks, I was like, oh, you can make a movie, right? And I mean that in the highest regard. And we were talking in the hallway, and I was complimenting you. I tried to touch you, and. Platonically, but to do that and to know so many people are connected with it, and then to come here and watch what they do with it. How do you feel?
Well, first of all, there haven't been anything done or said that we as the people who've been a part of it have fucking fucked around with about it
Right,
ourselves. Especially with Jay and stuff like that around. So the fact that we can do this, take this film and do like a lampooning of it, it's kind of fun. And to have been a part of it, to be once again the straight guy, again, throughout all the other jokes is just on par with how it gets delivered. The more serious and straight you deliver it, usually the funnier the jokes hit. And that's what's great about with Chuck and Brad is what they've done is they've been able to combine both Brad's wonderful talent to I mean, listen, we've seen what was that Shrink cartoon that used to be on Fox?
Dr. Katz.
It's kind of Dr. Katz-ish.
Yes, sure.
Like a still frame of Dr. Katz.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of a feel to it, which is kind of fun. And to have the audience respond like they did, it's fun. Especially like the replacing of stuff that was very, very funny. And there's other really parts of it that I enjoy. And you could take any of Kevin's films, especially any of the View Askew films, and do this kind of treatment to it, and I think the audiences, especially here, would love it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, it's all Brad. It's really all Brad.
I've been drawing Cop Out for 4 years.
That's what that was?
I got arrested for having that on my computer.
Yes.
Now that we've done the show...
Don't invite Bruce Willis to do the voiceover.
Oh. Do you know the new news?
No, there was I thought Kevin and him didn't get along. Why? What's the
No,
update?
he has like aphasia, and he's.
Oh, I
Slowly,
didn't know this.
Yeah, he's slowly.
Yeah, I
passing
know
away.
that. I'm just. That's why I say don't invite him, to give the guy some peace. His wife was in tears saying leave him alone. So.
O'Halloran comes in. He's like, "Don't have Princess Diana do it."
Do you see the level of empathy in the room that's weird?
I was going to say don't do the Dogma version so Alan Rickman and George Carlin can't show up.
Oh, Jesus.
Let's see who else has died.
At least I'm not forgetting people like the Oscars did, all right? At least I mentioned them, for fuck's sake.
True.
Jean-Benet Ramsey? I don't know. Just throwing it out there. Now,
No, that's if we're doing a movie about grooming. Which, I mean, Dogma, Catholic Church, yeah, it's almost the same thing. That's right. I brought it up.
Switch places
The guy wearing
with
the
me.
cross up here brought it up. That's right.
We have to tour as the Edgelords of comedy.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm busy that day. Now that we've done this
Hold
here...
on. TMZ, I think I just got an alert on my phone. I think I've been canceled.
Now that we've done this here... I wasn't involved with the Bradley drawn portion of the show, hence the microphone being completely off. But I do feel a moral responsibility to say this. Now that the show has happened and it's gone well, I think it is now time for the two of you to be honest. This was not Brad's Make-A-Wish. No?
I mean, it's a wish. It's not formal.
I do wonder if at some point we're going to find out that he's like an amazing talent and he's been doing this on purpose just to keep these shows going.
I assure you, I tried my best.
One time we were doing Lion King for this, and he sent me a picture of Zazu, the bird that he drew, and I looked at it and I said, "Did you copy this?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "No more tracing, get back to work." Remember that?
Tracer.
Hey!
It'd be interesting to do a version of this where you just let an AI program, AI art, and literally just type in a description and see, like, because every time I do it, it's like, the head of something is like a foot, where it's like, oh, I see, they took Salvador Dali's consciousness and put it into an AI for the AI art program, because I type in things for different type of projects. I'm like, how is this even anatomy? Like, where are gills fucking coming out of the side of someone? Like, I don't understand. I said, have someone stand near the ocean, and all of a sudden it's fucking Aquaman meets a blender.
We often say Brad is a robot.
There you go.
We do often say that. It's hurtful to my circuits.
Yeah. I think the microphone's why I'm not getting those laughs.
Do you want to?
Hold on, that's
great.
Yeah, okay.
Well, we really do. We want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. We know it's a weird thing.
Did anyone have a question?
Yeah, does anyone have a
we're
question?
out there.
Any questions at all?
Oh, good. It's all right. There
Right
we go.
there.
I am going to say I work in a book warehouse, and Brad is actually better than some of the ones that are published.
Whoa.
Whoa, coming for literature. How many people have been assassinated out of the window of the... This microphone works. This one works. 2. We'll talk after the show. Any other questions?
Good. Right there.
Oh.
Get him, Steve-Dave.
In Funbearable episode 2F09, when Brad plays Chuck's skeleton like a xylophone, he hits the same rib twice, but produces the same note. Is this some kind of magic xylophone?
I don't believe this is a magic.
Oh, God. The Simpsons fans in the audience are loving it, and everyone else is like, get him out of here.
That's how he got a name. Get him out of here.
That microphone is turned way up.
It's working.
Yeah.
It's working.
Yeah, it's working.
Meanwhile, I'm over here going, they have fucking groupies? What? What the hell?
Anybody else? Any other questions?
We had 2 over here.
Okay, go for it.
How long did it take you to draw? Was it like on the drive down from Rhode Island?
I know it looks that like I drew it while we were driving through a construction zone with no tires. That took me the better part of a week. I had a week off work, and I went to the library in Warren, Rhode Island. Support your local libraries, and I just sat down and I was like, okay, let me. We had watched the movie the day before, and I'm like, all right, these are the scenes I have to draw, and I'm sitting there like. My tongue is out a little bit. I'm trying, and I'm looking at him, and I'm so sad. And then I would take a picture and send it to Chuck, and he sends back it's ha ha ha. It takes up the whole screen. He loves it, and I'm like, that was the title card.
That feels appropriate to. That does feel like a modern library experience where you see a guy who looks really sad and he's drawing and you walk by and then you go back over to your friend and you're like, I think he's doing Clerks. You became somebody's story that day. That's beautiful.
I'll tell an interesting story about this so what happened, the reason that this happened was because, we work a lot with Rhode Island Comic Con and they know that we do comedy shows. And a couple things actually have come out of that. One of them was that we were in this main room, and it was huge, and Kevin was coming and doing a Q&A. And so this was Kevin Smith, yeah. It was a ticketed event, and one of the guys that organizes the Comic-Con came up to us because I was hired by Kevin to film it, and he said, hey, Kevin's late. You and Brad do comedy. Can you go up on stage and kill some time? And I'm like, maybe how long? He's like, I don't know, 10 minutes? And I'm like, okay. We went up on stage 45 minutes riffing for him to come, but
Thank you.
But one of the things that happened too was when they told us we were going to moderate for Brian, they said, hey, we're really trying to do maybe alternative things, not just normal panels. Do you think there's anything you could do with Brian that might be outside of a normal panel? And we said, well, we do these Bradley Drawn events where we draw the whole movie and tell the whole story in a different way. Do you want us to do that? And they said, yes, do that. And we said, okay, let's work on it. And then we said, so we're going to write like Brian into it, right? And he's going to be part of it. And they said, we don't know if he'll want to do that. So we will plan on it, but plan on getting here, having him intro it, and him not be part of it. So there's 2 versions of this. One of them without Brian O'Halloran in it, and then one of them with him in it. And that day, we actually went up to you at your booth, and I was like, are you down to do this? Because they were like, he has to read the script. He has to approve every line. And I was like, I know him. He doesn't seem like that type of guy. And I gave it to you, and you went, you flipped through it for 1 second. You're like, yeah, whatever. And I was like, yeah.
So wait a minute. You're saying there was a version I didn't have to be here?
I'm going to be honest. When you walked in, I looked at Brad, and I went, he's not even supposed to be here today.
We did have one last question before we wrap things up.
Oh, good.
Oh,
No.
No. Go ahead, Wolf Blitzer. What do you got?
Are we going to see Dr. McFrankenstein?
Funbearable. Yeah.
And if so, can you write the script and Brad draw it out?
So on our podcast, Funbearable, there's a character named Dr. McFrankenstein that I created. And the concept was just that McDonald's wanted to completely take social media by storm, so they created a new mascot that essentially kidnapped and tortured all the existing McDonald's characters, Ronald McDonald. I think they found at Ronald McDonald's home, they found fingernails in the floor and blood streaks and clown paint on the ground. Actually, you're familiar with that. Vulgar. And Dr. McFrankenstein then took over the McDonald's menu for a year, and every month he had a rotating, insane menu. And the food was awful, the ideas were awful, but the idea behind it was just that social media would flip out over this. And I presented it to Brad and Ray on an episode without prompting them beforehand, and they hated it more than I thought anyone could hate anything.
We still do. Still think it's.
And notice how he was talking about it as if it actually happened. That's his mind. He's like, no, I've seen the commercials. They're terrifying.
I've seen Ku Klux Klan rallies with less aggression than Ray displayed towards that character.
How many rallies have you seen?
From afar.
Oh, I
From
don't need the
afar.
microphone anymore. From afar? Just chalk out in a field with binoculars?
I was
I
wondering.
don't know how to meet new people.
I was wondering, like, you were like, hey, do you want to get drinks after this? Like, no, I'm going down to the Pine Barrens later. Now I know why. Going out to have a meeting at the Pine Barrens.
What size is your hat?
By the way, that's why those fires always start in the Pine Barrens, if you're ever wondering. It's one of those meetings.
Oh, really?
I'm just kidding.
Oh, I thought that was cool. I was excited. I was going to watch it from afar.
For a second, like 10 of the members in the audience like, oh, fuck, they're on to us.
Any other questions before we go?
I will not
Oh, you
do a
want to
full
draw?
length draw.
Yes.
You know, maybe we'll do some artistic renderings of Dr. McFrankenstein.
But I will guarantee this, 100% Dr. McFrankenstein is returning in 2023.
No!
Give it up for Dr. McFrankenstein.
There you go.
So much support.
Don't give it up. Put it back down for Dr. McFrankenstein.
But I think we are going to get going. Is there any more questions? Last chance. Christian.
Bradley drawn movie.
Well, we need the movie. Actually, I got some ideas.
So many prosthetics.
Hold on. Bradley drawn the story of Brad. Oh, yeah. And you know who's going to play Brad? Brian O'Halloran.
Thank you all.
Payback, bitch. I want to thank Chuck. I want to thank Brad. Give it up for Ray, everybody, as well.
Give it up for Ray.
On behalf of the Smodcastle Cinema, I want to give a big thanks to Christian for helping us with all the technical. The other Rhode Island crew here for the Funbearable podcast as well. Check it out. These guys are hilarious. I hope to get to do something with them again. Thank you guys for taking so much time
Thank you
out
all.
here Friday.
Thank you so much. Brian O'Halloran, the star of the show. Give it for Brian.
Brian O'Halloran, everybody!
Thank you.
That's all I've got.